Green, green.
Holy moly.
Great job! Yeah! This guy.
Thank you. Wow!
Hell yeah. Woo-hoo! Great job, man!
And we got a crash. Car spinning left and right.
Buddy, let her rip. Rain like hell, baby! Come on! Oh my god, guys! Yes! Yes! Unbelievable! You guys are the best! Yes, 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 yes! Oh, what a year!
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Darian Gilliam, aka Black Flags Matter, back for another edition of the NASCAR Weekly Podcast on BFM. We have our usual panel, and once again, for only the second time on my channel, no guests today, but this is a good enough race to talk about just on our own. So let's get right into it. Eric, you start us off here. So, Gateway, the inaugural Cup Series Gateway race is officially in the books. I had tweeted some stuff about, people's expectations might have been a little bit too high, but now that has aged poorly. So, why don't you start us off? What were your initial thoughts on the Gateway Cup Series race?
I'll go quick because I want to hear from the two people who were at the race this weekend. But on TV, and I'm sure you can speak to this as well, Darian, but on TV, the place looked packed. And Fox made good use of those wide angles of the crowd, not a space, not a glint of bleacher silver in the crowd. It was pretty gorgeous to see on that main front stretch, especially packed grandstands. They said it sold out 57,000 seats roughly. So that was great. The entire St. Louis market seemed to roll out the red carpet for NASCAR this weekend. They had driver autograph sessions downtown earlier in the weekend. They had the hauler parade right outside of Busch Stadium in St. Louis.
They booed Kyle Busch's hauler.
Yeah, I saw that clip. Yeah. Like who's a hauler? No,
I know. I never seen that.
But I thought the city really adopted the entire event and made it feel like a huge deal. We need more cities to do that. And I think a couple of drivers mentioned this, but I didn't realize till I looked at the map how close Gateway, the track, is to the city. Like it's technically on the Illinois side, across the river, I guess, but it's still very close to downtown.
It's right by the Cardinal Stadium, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the Cardinal Stadium's like right in downtown. I think it's just across the river from what I can tell on the map.
I think when we left the Speedway on Saturday, we went and actually checked out St. Louis, went and saw the Arch, went and had some barbecue. Literally, I think the first exit we got off of to be at St. Louis was right where Rams used to play. So that's kind of how in relation to it was. We went over Mississippi River and then boom, Rams Stadium.
You guys are so lucky. See, I'm a diehard Rams fan, and even back when they were in St. Louis. So one thing I know about the city of St. Louis, they love their sports and obviously their motorsports as well. So yeah, but you guys were actually there, Danny B, Talks, and the Iceberg, aka Jared, Iceberg. Oh my gosh, I'm already messing up. Yeah, back to 2018 form already. But Jared, you start us off, man. Just what was your thoughts on the race, and what was it like in person?
It was nice to get away, once getting into the track, get away from all the Cardinals crap outside. Go Cubs. So I was pleasantly surprised by all the racing this weekend. Gateway. Everyone compared it to Phoenix. I always kind of thought at the same time it looked a lot like New Hampshire with the racing, and I feel like it was like a mid to late 2000s New Hampshire race in the sense that there was good racing. You could move up the track. You didn't need to put stuff down.
And
drivers.
And no tinted windows this time to show.
No tinted windows. No tinted windows. And what I like too is that, and I don't know if the broadcast brought it up, but I know that they brought it up in the media center about how Kyle Busch and Joey Logano were using different shifting patterns and different lines. They brought it up. So going down just to fourth and then back to fifth, or going all the way to third and then back up to fifth. And I thought it was pretty interesting that it really became a full-on driver's track during the race. And I was surprised just how good the racing was, because I knew going into it, I'm like, all right, if this is just a mid race, I'll be happy. It should be a success. But the racing was good. Eric, like you said, the crowd was good for both races. It was good. They actually, unlike previous years, they opened up the turn 1 and 2 grandstands for the truck race. Wow. So it was I want to say, I think when we, doing the estimate, it was between 20 and 25,000 at the truck race.
That's pretty good.
That's
yeah.
Good. That's really good.
So it was, I gotta say, I was really impressed. The lines were about the only thing that was bad there, but the traffic pattern stuff was good. You could see the traffic during the tweet up, and it was actually moving a ton. There was no, Carmageddon.
So it wasn't.
I was impressed.
So it basically wasn't Kentucky 2011.
No,
It was backed up, but it was moving.
Yeah.
Better, way better than Kentucky, better than Nashville last year as far as traffic went. So I was originally worried about that because of the whole prepaid parking thing, but even then, like for the parking lot we were in, there was still a lot more parking spots available in that lot, at least I noticed.
That's good to know.
I know at Texas for the All-Star race, it took an hour to get out of the parking lot there. So if Texas is having issues with traffic, I think Gateway probably handled it as well as you can.
Now, again, I don't know how it was leaving because what we do is it usually takes me about an hour or more after the race to get all my videos uploaded I'm going to do. So by the time I'm out, the traffic's already gone anyways. But people did stick around after the race, though, for that concert. They didn't just leave immediately.
Who was the concert
Nelly.
for? Oh, Nelly. That's right, because he's at
Well,
St. Louis.
that was Saturday, but after the Cup race, they had another one. I think it was Old Dominion was one of the highlight bands.
they were all like bands that were like at their peak 20 years ago.
Yeah, like Nelly hasn't been like, he peaked in like the early 2000s.
It was cool.
He's from St. Louis though, so that's why.
It was cool though. Before, like, I got there around like about 10 o'clock. Actually, funny story. When I was on the way to the track, I called Danny. I had stopped, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm gonna be there a little late." And I'm like, "I swear I have a good reason." He's like, "Yeah, what's up?" I go, "Like this Ford. I don't know if it was a Taurus. I don't know what type it was, but I just remember seeing Ford. It blew its left rear right in front of me, and I had to like basically avoid crashing into it because it spun into the median and nearly flipped."
Oh wow.
So the entire day was crazy for me. You remember that clip at Texas, Darian, where like Biffle is like not spinning, and Junior's like trying to get around? That was me on the interstate next to a semi. But it worked out because when I got there, I actually got to walk over and pet one of the Budweiser Clydesdales.
Oh yeah, they had them there on the straightaway. Yeah.
Oh, it was awesome seeing them go by, and it's like you don't realize how huge they are until you see them in person. So that was really cool. But I got to say, I was really impressed by how the track put on a good show for the fans, how everything for the most part was laid out really well. Inside the track, like behind pit road, they had old different stock cars from the past. One of them had Winston and stuff on that. It's amazing they managed to get that by. But there was a Dale Earnhardt one. There was the M&M's Ken Schrader car, the 36. It was really cool to see. I was impressed.
It wasn't Winston. It was a Ken Schrader skull car. That's what it was.
Skull.
Well, they had like the Winston stickers and everything. Like,
Yeah.
and all, but I was surprised how they got all that by. And like, what was it you pointed out, Danny? It was like something like tobacco.
On the back of the skull car, it said U.S. Tobacco. So literally sponsored by the U.S. Tobacco like legislation.
Oh wow,
I love that. But yeah, I wanted to put that out there because we've talked about before when there's new tracks and we're at it, the stuff they do right and wrong, and a lot of times there's been stuff tracks have been wrong before. But I think like putting that positive stuff out there that they did right was really cool to see, and I think we should put that out there. But the racing itself,
that's what I was gonna segue into. So like the racing product, that's a whole other different story. And Eric, you start us off. Your initial thoughts on the racing product for the Cup Series at Gateway?
Yeah, broadly speaking, I kind of agree with your assessment. I hadn't thought about it like this, Jarrett, but it did kind of race like New Hampshire. Now, at New Hampshire, they require grip strips in those first and third lanes, or maybe just the third lane to get that groove widened. Here, they didn't require any of that, to my knowledge, and the groove widened out very naturally, very organically. And I think that saved the racing because it was really, really hard to pass after about 6 laps, removed from a restart, but partially due to all the shifting.
But those restarts, though.
Some drivers were downshifting twice getting into, I think, turn 1, and then later on they figured out maybe there's a better way to do it. But like all the shifting makes it harder to pass because it makes it easier to catch yourself after making a mistake. So that was difficult, but the restarts, like you said, Darian, were outstanding. I did not expect that much passing, 4 wide, throwing it in there.
I think they were even 5 wide at one point, I think.
At one point in the back of the pack, they were 5 wide for some reason. And more often than not, they made it work. Or if they didn't make it work, it led to, shenanigans that fans got to cheer for, and it was a good time. So I thought the racing was little hard to pass, maybe a tiny bit harder to pass than you'd like to see, but not bad.
Jared?
Well, I was surprised by the absolute craziness and drama on the track.
Yeah, we can talk about that.
We had. Like, yes, and I think that being hard to pass instigated this all. I think that it's kind of in a way. I hate comparing it to all these different tracks, but it kind of in a way is like how it is at Martinsville. Where at Martinsville, it's hard to pass. You have basically 1.5 lanes to use, and you got to get into people. And that's sort of what started happening a lot. I noticed, I don't know if they showed too much of the back of the pack, but in the back of the pack, there was a ton of beating and banging and people trying to move each other out of the way.
Fox's credit, I was like kind of shocked. Like they did show some midfield racing there.
They showed a decent amount. I think they missed some of the contact Ross Chastain made with people that we didn't like. He ran into a lot of people, and a few of them I've heard named. I don't think we saw on TV. They must have happened mid or backpack.
Yeah, there was a whole lot more action.
He did say after the race he owed half of the field an apology, so he knew he got into more than just the other two.
Yeah, Fox showed us maybe 2 or 3 incidents. It sounds like there are a couple more notable ones.
Dude, it was. I wouldn't have thought that this was the track that we'd see Ross Chastain bring Denny Hamlin and Chase Elliott fans together and rooting for the same
Those
cause.
Are 2 fan bases that have went at each other for a long time, and then they united for one night only.
They're an alliance now too. And what was crazy about that is I had never seen. I mean, call me out if I'm wrong here. Like, was that the first ever like double tag team in NASCAR history, like where 2 drivers go after one at the same time?
No, I think we've seen situations like that before.
At the same time, at the same
like on
turn?
the same turn. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, the closest thing I can think of to my knowledge is what was it? Brad Keselowski, and then Harvick come up to him, and then that set him off into Gordon, and that started that fight. That's one of the.
I guess that's true. Yeah, when after the race, Harvick pushed Keselowski towards Gordon. I guess that's somewhat true. Yeah.
But as far as like on track stuff, I've never seen, like, me personally, I've never seen like two guys in the same turn, 2 drivers try and just go for one. Like Chase Elliott got into him at first, and then Denny Hamlin was on the backstretch, just like trying to block him.
And then I felt bad for BJ McLeod. Like, he's just driving his own race in the back, and all of a sudden I think he came over to radio and said, like, those 2 need to like settle down. I'm not about this crap.
But
I'm just trying to run my race.
It wasn't just like Chastain and Hamlin. Like it seemed like a lot of the field was just getting into it like with each other. Like, and then Hamlin like saw Bubba Wallace get dumped by Stenhouse, and then he went up to he drove over to Stenhouse's car.
No,
Hamlin just became the hall monitor out there. He was either wrangling Chastain or he was going after Stenhouse.
I do got to say this. I see why Chase Elliott was mad at Ross Chastain, but the situation that happened there, what I saw at least, looked like it was more like, I think Dylan kind of squeezed Chastain a little bit there, and they kind of just kind of all squeezed together. It looked more like a racing deal on that one. Mm-hmm. The Denny Hamlin thing, though, that was definitely more on Chastain.
Yeah. I think if the Hamlin thing hadn't happened and it was just the Chase Elliott incident, I don't think we're having this conversation. I think everyone knows Chastain has a reputation for maybe sticking his nose where it doesn't belong, where nobody expects it to be, and that was kind of what was happening on that restart. But yeah, I'm with you, Denny. The actual contact to me was really instigated by either Dylan, Elliott, or both. Quite frankly, Chastain just maybe shouldn't have been there.
Just squeezed together, and then I'm sure all the other spotters who are already paying attention to Ross Chastain.
But after the Hamlin incident, he wasn't going to get any slack for it.
He didn't get the benefit of the doubt after the Hamlin deal, because that one, that was just Chastain. I know Larry McReynolds, I don't know if you guys heard this, but on the broadcast, Larry McReynolds came over and said, just so Chastain was hard on the brakes according to the SMT right before he hit Hamlin. So I don't think he intentionally tried to wreck Hamlin to the wall. I think he intentionally either chose to drive in really hard, or he intentionally tried to bump Hamlin because he had been battling for a long time, trying to get by, was getting frustrated. And to me, once you commit to making an aggressive move, whatever happens is on you. And so it was his fault that Hamlin got up into the fence and effectively had his day ruined. So Hamlin being mad at Chastain, to me, 100% justified. Now, we can debate this. Everything Hamlin did to Chastain throughout the rest of the race, I mean, did it go too far? Did it ever cross the line?
I don't think it went too far. I don't think so.
This is something we don't see very often is basically he sent a message. I mean, that's all he really did. People likened it to when I think Dale Jr. and Kurt Busch got into each other in 2000 at Rockingham, where like Jr. just stuck on Busch's bumper for 40 laps. It's basically the inverse version of what Hamlin did. And he didn't crash him. He didn't do anything.
Chastain still finished 8th.
Yeah.
Still got top 10.
So Eric, I'll just put it like this. Basically, your boy Matt Kenseth, your favorite driver of all time, he basically set the so as long as you don't do that, you're good. Basically.
Yeah.
Well, there's a chance that he might still do it because Hamlin was talking this week that he'll remember this for another day whenever he chooses.
And perhaps that could be the championship 4 race. A good time to pay him back, perhaps. Maybe.
See, and I don't think it even has to go that far. Because I don't think that Hamlin is even whatsoever with Chastain. Had he slowed him down to the point that he got taken off the track for not meeting minimum
the DVP,
speed, then I think it would be even. But I'll say, if at Martinsville he walls Chastain, where he just hits him, doors him into the wall, sort of what Chase Elliott did to him at Phoenix, I think it's warranted. And I mean, Chastain said the same, basically.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I think if he pile drives into him, then that's probably too far. And like you said with the Kenseth thing, he might get suspended. But no, I'm with you. If he just rubs into him a little bit, roughs him up here and there, maybe a little spin at Martinsville or Richmond in the playoffs, fans are going to be mad because fans love to pile on Denny Hamlin anytime he steps a toe out of line. But I think it'll be justified, or at least we can all say we can't say we didn't see it coming. I suppose he's certainly given us plenty of advanced warning.
Yeah.
Now I will say I appreciate his control on that whole situation because at one point they were going down the back straightaway, and when he had him, basically he had Chastain in a situation where he could have turned him and sent him flying into the wall, but he chose not to do that.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I give Chastain credit. I know that it doesn't change anything, but unlike Joey Logano, which I'm just going to say now, Joey Logano is the polar opposite in this situation of Chastain. He'd be like, well, you know what? It's just fine. It's the same to me.
Oddly enough, he won the race.
Yeah. But I give him credit that at least he has awareness to be like, okay, I screwed up.
He definitely has self-awareness. That's one thing. But is he actually going to go through with it and kind of, tone down his
that just depends on the conversations that they have these next few weeks.
Yeah.
Well, let's ask Justin Marks.
It's just tough. It goes so deep. He's been doing this for years. I just, for some reason, I have a vivid memory. I was at Talladega 2020 watching the truck race. He was up front making a lot of aggressive blocks. And I told my dad on pit road, I said, Chastain's going to cause a wreck. Not 2 laps later, he caused a wreck. So this has been going on for years and years. And sometimes it works out great. He's won some truck races. He's now won some cup races. But many times it pisses people off. So it goes way too deep. I don't think he can just flip a switch and stop doing it. I think it's going to be a long process to becoming less aggressive.
I remember 2020 Daytona 500, watching him go ballistic on the apron and cause a big wreck at the 500.
Yep. I don't know where that move was going.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that comes from basically he was the underdog. He was driving for underfunded teams for most of his career up to this point, and now he had to basically claw and scratch to get that car inside the top 10 or top 15. And now, I mean, he's been doing it for years. Now you're with a top team, and it's like, well, I mean, I got here for a reason, so it's like, do I stop or whatever? So that's gonna be the next challenge.
It's gonna get him some. It's gonna get him some enemies like that, but also that's how he won his first race.
Yeah.
I think, it looked like Bowman was going to cruise into that one, but if he hadn't hit Allmendinger and then he hit Bowman, he doesn't win that one.
But also,
if he just laid over and let Allmendinger push him around there, he would have lost the race. So yeah, but one of y'all mentioned Justin Marks a second ago. It's tough. We're all saying that maybe he should change his attitude a little bit, or maybe not. Justin Marks says his driver did nothing wrong. He says Chastain did 0 wrong at Gateway, which I think is.
I don't know about all that.
He's sticking up for his driver, but if he actually believes he didn't do anything wrong, then he's not watching the same race. I understand
he's just sticking up for his driver. Yeah.
But if he talks to he may go talk to Chastain's going to talk to Hamlin or try to talk to Hamlin. He may try to talk to Chase Elliott, and maybe they come to some sort of understanding. But if he has his own team owner saying, "Don't change, whatever you do, keep your foot in it, don't change," I don't see this changing. I mean, that's your team. That's your boss.
I think what I saw Justin Marks essentially saying was more like, "Hey, man, look, we both own cars out here. Let's not go out of our way to wreck each other's cars."
Yeah, let's wreck the other field's car. No, I'm kidding. No, we don't want to see wreck cars. But yeah, no. But either way, absolutely entertaining. But amongst all of the chaos, though, we had a winner. Joey Logano once again wins another inaugural Cup Series race at a new track. I mean,
second this year alone.
Yeah.
Mr. Inaugural, we can call him that.
Last year, Dirt Bristol. This year, the LA Coliseum for the Clash, and now the inaugural Gateway Cup race.
Is there other inaugural races he's won?
I don't know. I mean,
we haven't really had that many before 2021.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess he's won 3 so far, and I guess he's gonna win more as we add some new races as the year.
I love. I tweeted something about that, and I had like a bunch of Elliott fans. Actually, Elliott won on the road course ones, and I'm just like,
oh my god,
okay, dude, but like
that has nothing.
Logano has 3 of the last 6.
One time does not equal 3.
Yeah.
No, he won. Didn't he win 2 inaugural races? Elliott,
well, yeah.
He
won Road American Coda.
Oh, that's right.
Okay, but Logano's have been all different tracks, so.
Yeah.
I just love the other one. I saw someone put. They were like, he just won on short tracks. He can't win on road courses. It's like,
oof.
It's still a win.
Who cares?
Who cares? A win's a win.
Elliott fans are done feuding with Hamlin fans. They got to move on to Logano fans.
No, they gotta fight with somebody.
They gotta find like the 3rd or 4th fan base to flip off at Martinsville this October. I'm just taking it a little.
I will say this: during driver introduction this weekend, Logano, Kyle Busch, and Hamlin all received the most boos during driver introductions.
I was surprised. I think Larson actually was like really close to Elliott with cheers. Like it was surprising.
And surprisingly, Kevin Harvick got a ton of cheers this weekend.
Well, he's won there before.
It's like he was very well liked there, specifically for some reason.
It's Bush Anheuser-Busch is there. Maybe that's why. It was corporate people. I don't know.
I piped into crowd noise. I paid for that.
Yeah, maybe that's got something to do with it. But like we talked about, the front runners so far. But let's talk about a specific a very specific midfield finish. Zane Smith was called in to replace Chris Buescher last minute. And he ended up finishing P17, the same number as the car he was driving. So, I mean, Zane Smith, for, coming in last minute for his Cup Series debut, really not only outperforms his owner, but, a large portion of the field as well. So, I mean, Eric, we'll start off with you. I mean, what were your thoughts on that?
You can go ahead, Danny. What were you going to say?
Go ahead, yeah.
I was just going to say it just kind of felt weird to even have a driver having missed because of COVID. We haven't seen that in –
yeah.
Did we see it at all last year in the Cup Series? I can't remember.
There's probably like 1 or 2.
Maybe,
it might have been. I'm trying to think. I know Austin Dillon missed race, but that was 2020.
Like the last one I remember was Jimmy and Austin Dillon. I don't remember any last year specifically.
I don't know if there were any last year, but Chris Buescher will be back at Sonoma. It sounds like, so that's good news. Glad he's okay. But Zane Smith absolutely was impressive. He went into the weekend and was pretty honest. He wasn't going to go in and try to overdrive the car. He even said, like, I haven't earned the right to race like an asshole out here. Like, I'm going to go out, keep my car as clean as possible. I'm going to try and finish on the lead lap, run all the laps, and see what happens. This is an amazing opportunity, blah, blah, blah. And since that was the goal, I think he well exceeded the goal. He was on the lead lap all day. There were a lot of cautions that made it a little easier. But as you mentioned, Darian, he ran as well, or in many cases outperformed his boss, his team owner, Brad Keselowski. So a top 20 in an RFK car at, kind of a difficult short track with a lot of shifting, a lot of unknowns. That's extremely impressive for Zane Smith, who's the winningest Truck Series driver so far this year. And I think we know about his deal with Chip Ganassi that got nixed because they got bought, but he is on every Cup Series team's radar right now, every Xfinity Series team's radar. He is due for a promotion probably by next season. And this Cup Series tryout, albeit 1 week, 1 race at a new venue, I think was pretty impressive. I think that if people weren't paying attention to Zane Smith already, they are now.
And don't forget, he had to overcome adversity in the race, too. He had that pit road.
He got spun on pit road, yeah.
He had that pit road.
Maybe he might have spun himself. I don't remember.
I think he either downshifted a little too early and spun, or he got clipped a little bit.
I think he got bumped or somebody, but it might have been his fault. I don't remember the incident.
I would say there's a good chance that the people at Ford and RFK are going to remember this and keep it on their radar. I don't know where Michael McDowell stands at this point in his career. I know he's been around for a while, but if he looks at retirement or anything last minute, Zane Smith could be a good option to go into that seat.
And not to completely change the subject, but I wouldn't even limit it to Ford. If we're talking about Zane Smith's future, I mean, kid's a free agent. Money is money. Opportunity is opportunity. He's not loyal. We've seen Noah Gregson's change manufacturers. William Byron's change manufacturers. Haley Deegan's change manufacturers. These 20-year-olds, 18-year-olds, they're not really loyal to any one manufacturer. You go where the opportunity takes you, where you have the funding. So, I mean, we'll talk about Martin Truex later. Joe Gibbs Racing. That I wouldn't be shocked if we see Zane Smith potentially jump. He's been with Chevy. He's now with Ford. He could end up with Toyota in the next year or two. I wouldn't be shocked by that either.
Yeah, definitely possible.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, he could even be in the 17 next year because Chris Buescher is not impressed whatsoever. He's actually done a lot worse this year than he did last year.
Yeah, I thought, when he first signed with Roush Racing, I'm like, okay, he's going to leave, Brad Doherty's team. He'll probably do a lot better here, but he just hasn't. And then
he was a playoff viable driver last year.
Yeah.
Like at this time
won that stage
year,
at Miami.
at this time last year, Chris Buescher, 14 races in, of course, not 15 because of everything. But if you compare 14 races in last year, he was 14th in the playoff grid. He was well in there. And then, of course, he didn't get a win. Other guys did whatever. But it's like now you look at him and he's an afterthought. I mean, he's basically running, in the 20s every week. So
I wanted to look this up just to be sure. In fairness to Chris Buescher, he is performing better than Brad Keselowski in the same equipment. And I think you could just argue that RFK has completely missed it with the next gen to start the year, and the cars just aren't as good as last year. But yeah, I mean, to your point, he hasn't impressed, but I wonder if there's nothing there to impress with. I don't know.
I would try with the younger driver. You see how Zane Smith did this week. He ran just the same as Chris Buescher did with less experience.
Yeah,
I'd say give him a shot. I mean, at this point, Buescher's kind of a journeyman driver, if anything, whereas Zane Smith is someone who's proven himself in the Truck Series and had a deal lined up in the Cup Series before.
I guess I just look at Zane Smith. Maybe I'm bullish on Zane Smith, but I feel like he can get a better deal than Roush.
Oh, he could.
That's what I don't think if I'm him, I'd settle for a Roush Fenway ride, given what we've seen this year. But maybe if that's all that's available, yeah. Sure,
now, I saw somebody comment on one of my tweets after the race talking about, damn, that Zane Smith start was just like, it kind of reminded me of Matt Kenseth's debut. I'm like, whoa.
No.
I'm like, bro, no, Matt Kenseth's debut, like when he drove Bill Elliott's 94 at Dover, and I think it was 1998, I believe. He finished in the freaking top 10, and he was running
sixth.
He was running P2 at one point. Yeah, I'm like,
top 5.
It wasn't up to that level, but it was still a very decent, for the circumstances.
Oh no, yeah, Zane Smith's great debut, not Matt Kenseth level. Let's just end there.
They just had the 17 nostalgia. I think that's what that was. Yeah, for sure. But speaking of the point situation, though. The playoff cut line. So all of these drivers are within one race of each other. 11 races to go before the playoffs are set. In P14, Christopher Bell plus 57 to the good. P15, Eric Almirola plus 8. P16, Tyler Reddick plus 2. 17th, Kevin Harvick minus 2. 18th, Eric Jones minus 26. And finally, Austin Dillon 19th minus 29. So Eric Almirola, Tyler Reddick, Eric Jones, all having spectacular runs during the race. Really has busted this wide open again, too. I mean, like it was looking like a couple of guys were looking to run away with it, but it's wide open again.
I know our chat has to be very happy about Harvick being 17th right now.
As much as our chat doesn't like Harvick most of the time, they have to really be excited about that. But also, I mean, it's like, whoa, like Stewart-Haas Racing, man, like this was supposed to be their year, like, their comeback year and stuff. And like, granted, like I feel like most Cup Series teams would love to have, 2 or 3 of their cars, competing for a playoff spot. But based on Stewart-Haas, based on their past seasons, this just they're just not totally back yet.
I'll put it in perspective. The last time Kevin Harvick was outside of the playoff or chase, was 13 years ago. Like there are kids watching NASCAR and probably watching this show who weren't born the last time Harvick was actually in real danger of missing the playoffs or chase.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy to think about. And again, he hasn't won in quite some time neither. So.
No.
I just look. I look at the people behind him. Even like he's 17th. He's already out, and the 2 guys immediately behind him. Eric Jones had a shot at winning this race.
He's on the come up.
Austin Dillon, he had a shot at winning a couple weeks ago at where did they race? Charlotte. He made that big move before the big wreck at the end there. So Harvick is not safe. And this weekend, Eric Almirola I think he had a top 5, and Tyler Reddick, I don't know where he finished, but I know he got a lot of stage points, I think in stage 1, and Christopher Bell's on the up and up. Harvick's going to keep sliding at this rate. I don't know what it is. If it's, an older driver not able to figure out the next gen as quick as some of the young guys, if it's just SHR still isn't that good and is only capable of putting maybe one or two good cars on track a week.
Or Harvick's just getting old. I mean, it happens.
Well,
you get older, you slow down.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say Harvick's not at his peak anymore, but I don't think he's fallen off a cliff. He won like 10 races less than 2 years ago. He can't be off a cliff yet. I don't know.
I mean, I'm looking at some of the numbers here, and Harvick has 7 top 10s in 15 races. So
his average finish, isn't it like 13th or something?
Yeah, which is bad for Harvick, but I mean,
but still decent. That's like Truex. That's the same average finish Truex has this year.
Looking at some of the others on the cut line. I mean, he has more top 10s than Reddick does. He has more top 10s and top 5s than Almirola does. I mean, everyone aside from Christopher Bell on that cut line, he's outrunning. It's just that he can't close it out at this point. I see. My thing is, I still don't trust Eric Almirola. I know he's +8, but he's getting he's rising up because of the misfortune of others. Like, it's not because of his own performance. I know he did well this week, but this is like a first in a while kind of thing.
Yeah, like he was running in the top 5. I was like, whoa, is that right? Like, he's not the first car lap down. Like, he was running inside the top 3s for.
I think it just fits into his driving style is all. I mean, we saw him obviously win New Hampshire last year, so I think it's just one of those that just fits him better.
Yeah, I just going back to Harvick, because I mean that's the big name out. I mentioned Jones and Dillon, but there's even guys we didn't even mention. Suarez is like 20th, 21st in points, and he's capable of winning almost any week, it seems. Bubba Wallace, watch out for him. We got 2 more super speedways before the playoffs. Michael McDowell has been really good lately, and we've got like 4 more road courses before the playoffs. So
and 2 super speedways.
I think Harvick's going to have to win a race to make the playoffs. And honestly, I think the same could be said about Eric Almirola, Tyler Reddick. Maybe he sneaks in if he can finally start to close some of these races out. He's had the speed, but I don't know. It's just, as someone in the chat said, we said the same thing about Jimmy Johnson in 2018, that there's no way he could fall off a cliff. That suddenly, apparently he did. I don't know. Maybe Harvick's gone down the similar path. I don't know. I'm not going to say, I'm not going to rush it. That's the chat saying that, but
it just also feels like we might be at the point where SHR needs to cut the ties with Ford. Because when they cut ties with Chevy, I feel like they were still good with Chevy. All their cars, aside from Danica, all their cars were winning. But now they're in a place where it seems like, Harvick's going to do decent, but Briscoe's the only one who can legitimately go out and contend week in, week out right now.
I mean,
Custer, you barely know he's out there.
Yeah, I mean, you could also make the case that like the driver lineup might be what's holding them back for the most part. I mean, aside from Chase Briscoe, it's like, I mean, the only, like Harvick, like, yeah, he'll, run consistently, inside, like the midfield from time to time. Then, yes, he'll get a top 10, top 5 here and there, but it's just not up to the level he used to be. And then Almirola's about to leave. And then, like you just said, Danny, Cole Custer. I mean, Zane Smith outperformed Cole Custer in his debut with, like, on a last minute notice, like.
I don't know how close that Haas relationship goes, because I know he's had Haas his entire career, but he seems like the weak link right there right now.
Oh, he's the weak link.
Well, kind of going back to the playoff cut line right now, in my opinion, I'd say Bell on up right now points wise is good. I mean, he is 2 points away from being a full race up. I mean, he's 2 points away from being off this list. I don't think we get that many more winners, because if you look at some of the people who haven't won yet, yes, I know you have Blaney and Truex, well, they're above all these guys, so it wouldn't change anything. But you look at everyone below, and I'm none of these guys, I know they could win it any week, but for some reason, the driver or the team never closes it out. I don't trust any of them to win. Yeah. I don't trust anyone below Christopher Bell to win. I'm sorry. That's
fair. I think we get to. I'm gonna still say we get 15 different winners. I think a few weeks ago I said 16. All right, fine. I'll settle for 15, but I still think we get 15 different winners. And so I think Truex will win. I think Blaney will win, and maybe one of these guys like a Reddick or Jones or even a Harvick will win. But I think there's only going to be one guy who points his way in, and that might very well be Bell. but he's got to be careful. If more than two of these guys behind him wins, he could easily be in trouble. At least that's my opinion.
I say Reddick. Reddick will get a win. That's who I think will get a win.
See, I can't trust Reddick. I mean, like, whether
I can't
it's
trust
his team
RCR.
or it's, RCR. Whether it's him, his team, or whatever, it's like, I mean, Tyler Reddick's basically in the same situation Kyle Larson was with Chip Ganassi Racing. He's just carrying that team from time to time, and sometimes he'll overstep the boundaries that the car is capable of because he wants to run up front so damn bad, just like Larson did. So
Bell right now I'm looking at is 46 points behind Martin Truex Jr. And that's well within a race. It's actually almost within a race without too many stage points. I don't think this happens overnight, but if he raises up enough and there is that 15 winner mark, I mean, you could even say Truex could be on the line down the line or so. But I trust Blaney. I trust Truex. I trust Bell at this point because I knew New Hampshire is coming up and he's running the top 5 every week. Almirola has just, he got a top 5 this week, but what's he done since the first 4 weeks? Tyler Reddick can't finish a race to save his life. I feel bad for my poor dad who's a Reddick fan. Kevin Harvick is on the downward trajectory. Eric Jones is performing maximum of what that 43 car should be doing right now. Like what he's doing is amazing.
Like Ty Dillon, like I feel like his performance this year is basically where that team is basically supposed to be, but Eric Jones like takes him to another level.
Suarez is down below this group, isn't he? Just making sure.
He's 60 points out, which is over a full race.
So he's also someone we know that Trackhouse can obviously produce race-winning cars. So you definitely have to keep him on your radar. And with the extra seat time he's going to get this weekend, we'll talk about that more a little bit later. But with that extra seat time, he could be dangerous this weekend.
I just think Suarez has been within a lap of winning a race this year. Austin Dillon has been within a lap of winning a race this year. Eric Jones, Talladega was within a lap of winning a race this year. Tyler Reddick was a quarter away from winning a race this year. I just think not all these guys are going to win, but a couple of them, I think it's conceivable could win a race before the playoffs start.
If you had to pick 2 drivers to get a win that are below the cut line right now, who would they be? Eric, start us off. 2 drivers.
Suarez and I'll say Jones. Of people who are below the playoffs, I'll say Jones.
Okay. Who wants to go next?
I'll go next. Well, you go ahead, Denny.
I was going to say Suarez and Harvick. I still think he can get one.
So I'm going to go Harvick just because, he might be on the downward slope right now, but he's Kevin Harvick. He knows how to win races in the clutch. I mean, for God's sakes, he was called the closer for like a decade. And then Eric Jones, because I think of any of these guys, he has the most speed without screwing it up the most. Like Eric Jones is Murphy's Law. That's what he's been this year.
Yeah, I was going to go with Eric Jones and Daniel Suarez. I feel like those 2 would get it done.
So really we kind of came down to 3 guys there. Kind of I heard from about everyone.
Yeah.
But again, I still trust Truex, Bell, and Blaney way more than any of them at any point.
Mm-hmm.
And currently Reddick and Almirola are in the top 16, so I'm not including them.
That's something I got to remember. Our All-Star race winner doesn't have a win this season.
Oh yeah, that's right. I mean, he's been extremely consistent though, and I mean, he's been on the up and up this year for sure.
But the way I think about it is like this: we have 11 races left till the playoffs, and there's 5 open spots at the moment. Mm-hmm. Yes, there's there can be 6 winners in 11 races. That's not out of the question.
A lot of road courses and super speedways.
But there's a lot of road courses. But then you gotta look at who's good at the road courses, and most of these guys have won this year. Or you could have someone like AJ Allmendinger jump up and win a race. I mean, he did at Indy. Chase Briscoe is good at him. Martin, if you're looking at people who are outside, who have not won a race, I should say, that could be good at road courses, I immediately think of the 2 JGR cars that are out at the moment. And that's who I can trust. And I think, yes, Suarez did well, but it's for one reason or another, that team and that driver can never close anything out.
Whether it's his fault or someone else's fault, running into him running
if it's not one, it's the other. Yeah. That's how it always seems to be. I think there'll be one winner that's outside of this group right now, that's outside of the playoffs. One. I think that's 1 or maybe 2. But if anyone's gonna win, it's gonna be the people who are 14th and up right now.
Yeah.
Like And that includes the guys who've already won.
I just mean, if even one guy from outside this picture wins, that puts Christopher Bell in the hot seat potentially. That could put him as like the last guy in, second to last guy in on points.
He's still 55 up.
Yeah, I was about to point out. I mean, he's almost like plus 60, which I mean, plus 60, that's a full race, right?
But how far is he behind? Is Truex the next guy in points ahead of him?
Yes, and he's
because you're saying he's like 60 behind him. 46. Okay, so he's not going to move up
every week.
Well, he could move up, I guess, theoretically, but I don't know. That's tough. I don't know. Bell's not going to miss out on points. He's going to miss out if there's too many winners. And somehow the thing is, I think Bell wins a race. There's too many road courses. New Hampshire.
New Hampshire. I feel like he'll win New Hampshire definitely.
Well, and even a super speedway. I mean, he has a speed there, and just stuff goes wrong, or he makes a mistake or something. But it's like.
These final 11 races, man, they're going to be chaotic for the final playoff seedings. I mean, so basically we have 2 super speedways, you said, and 4 road courses.
Yeah, we have 6 wildcard races.
Yeah, so 6 wildcard races. So.
But I would only call the super speedways wildcards.
Yeah, I'd actually say intermediates feel like bigger wildcards than road courses. Right
like
now.
I'd say Michigan would be a bigger wildcard.
That's a big wildcard.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. I can't wait to see the
Michigan. I'd watch for Jones at Michigan.
Pocono.
Oh, Logano too, yes.
One other name, just because we have a few super speedways still, I wouldn't rule out a Justin Haley as good as he is on super speedways.
Oh yeah, Justin Haley. Oh yeah,
Harrison Burton isn't going to pile into a wreck for once. And
Brad Keselowski won his race.
Let's not forget about Brad.
Don't forget about him.
I actually got to say, I'm looking at the standings right now, and they only showed a top 29 on the NASCAR app. He's actually climbed to where he's visible again.
There we go.
He's 29th and has 200 points.
See, that's the thing with this next gen car. There's just so many good drivers that have yet to win still. But I mean, like, you just don't know if they're going to win.
I just think the where we're at right now, if you watch the way the season's gone, Penske and Gibbs right now. Yes, I know Hendrick has been consistent, but it's like Penske and Gibbs are the ones who are getting faster as the year goes on. And I know that Hendrick is still fast. I'm not discounting that. But when you look at those 3 teams, you pretty much have everyone that's already in either on wins or points. I think those are the guys who are going to get the monopoly of the wins in this. I don't want to be a W. I want there to be 17 winners. That's what I want.
Yeah,
20 winners.
I'm not gonna get too worried and say like, oh, Hendrick's losing it, because how many times have we seen Hendrick kind of just slow down in the summer and pick it up by the playoffs?
I'm not too worried about Hendrick. This weekend at Gateway was their first bad race of the year.
And the second half at Phoenix, which those two are the most similar tracks.
That's a good point.
Good point.
It's not a pattern yet, but it is. It's. There's 2. If they're bad in New Hampshire, that's a pattern.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think New Hampshire,
I
if you're a Hendrick fan, is one of the most important races of the year.
I think Jarrett pointed this out. I think this is the first weekend where not a single Hendrick car made a top 10.
I was wrong about this. Phoenix was the only other one.
Yeah.
I'm like, interesting.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
And you know who was fastest in both those races? Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano. Those were the ones
Penske cars
across both races were the 2 that were the only ones who were really fast in both of those. So
Austin Cindric will be your 2022 series champion. It has to be a Penske car. Sorry. I'm sure we could talk about this all day. I feel like we should probably move on to talk about that, because we got 2 other races.
Yeah, we still got 2 other races to talk
Good
about.
point.
But before we move on to those 2 races, let's go over the ratings from this past weekend. So the Cup Series race at Gateway turned in a 1.47 rating in total, 2.5 million viewers, just a little over.
It sure beat the crap out of IndyCar.
Yeah. We'll get into that in a little bit, but
head-to-head.
But to compare it to the Sonoma race from last year, which was on the same weekend, it also had basically damn near 2.5 million viewers. So it was pretty close. But for this weekend, there was 516,000 in the key demographic, which is up 20%. So
it's 20% of the audience.
No, it's not. It can't be up from anything, Darian.
Oh well, I'm sorry. 20. I'm sorry. It represents 20% of the viewership. Sorry about that. Yeah, not up 20%.
And kind of looking into the other ones, I want to point out, it's like I put this in here just because of how similar everything is. Xfinity had 23% in the key demo with 824,000 viewers. And NHRA and Trucks basically had the same with both, with 21%. IndyCar had 27%, but that was only 94,000. And like Danny alluded to before, the funny thing about IndyCar is that Cup qualifying got better in the key demo than IndyCar did, with 96,000 viewers, with less overall viewers at 325,000. So it's interesting to look at, but I think like I put this, I really wanted to talk about this and kind of put it in here because it's like, it's not just a NASCAR, I guess, problem, if you want to call it that, with the key demo not being as high as other sports. It's like motorsports in general, if you're not Formula One, is in the same vicinity. But I was surprised. I was surprised that how low the Xfinity ones were, even if it was around 824,000, because Xfinity's actually had a really good year. They've had like most of the races over 1 million viewers so far, which is not normal. So, but overall, like, it's pretty interesting just to look at that overall, though.
I think part of what helps Xfinity is all the names that are being made and the emotions we're seeing from guys like your Gregsons, your Ty Gibbs. People have more reason to want to tune in for these hot shot young guys they're hearing about.
And I feel like we had a pattern a few years ago of a lot of like one and dones in Xfinity, like William Byron, I think only ran 1 year.
They're actually staying for more than a year now.
Now Gregson's been there for like 3 or 4 years at least now. Brandon Jones has been there for who knows how long. Allgaier.
We saw Cindric have a lot of years there. Briscoe,
Ty Gibbs,
Custer.
he'll be back next year. It's already confirmed.
Well, it's not confirmed, but that's their hope. Yeah, that's what they hope. But yeah, even Ty Gibbs, this is kind of his second year almost. So
yeah, I wouldn't say confirmed. If something opened up in Cup, he's their go-to guy. So
well, I think if something opens up in Cup, that's not guaranteed.
But also, let's give some credit to let's just say the 34 of Jesse Iwuji's finally to increase that.
Yes.
We'll get into that later.
His whole weekend.
We'll get into that when we talk about the Xfinity race. We'll get into that.
Noah Gregson is a fan of him.
We'll get into that more, but really quick, let's move on. We are now at that point in the show where it's time for the poll, the famous iceberg poll. Don't worry, Eric.
He toned it down. I was scared.
Yeah, don't worry. I'm not going to do it that loud. But yeah.
How many episodes have you been doing this and you're just now scared?
Last week was
I know.
wild.
I did it really loud.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that. But
yeah, my ears hurt. But yeah, looking at the poll this week, we didn't get a new record, but it was actually really high for just a normal cable race. Just over 16,000 of you voted on this poll. 24% of you said that it was a great race. 54% said it was a good race. 15% said average, and 3 apiece for below average and bad. Net positivity was at 78% for this race. Net negativity only at 6%. Looking at the first comment, this one was from Spencer5478. He's actually a member of the channel. And he said, well, first of all, positive or negative?
Positive.
Positive.
He said, I forgot, was this the Enjoy Illinois 300 or the Beef It's What's for Dinner 300? Because on stage 2, man, so much chaos, so much madness, and so much drivers mad at other drivers. Love it. So yes.
Positive.
Positive.
Yeah, it was right. Finally.
And then let's go right.
Optimism.
I don't know why, but I wanted to say it like that. Escalator. Yields. 2 weeks in a row, SpongeBob references. So kind of looking at these, the high voted one here, the highest was from Sebastian Goldfish. It's an interesting name.
Yeah.
I like that name.
Wonder if he's an Allmendinger fan. Said pretty entertaining race. Hard to pass, but I felt like it worked well. Definitely want to see them continue to race at Gateway. Chastain versus Hamlin / Elliott was quite the show, and I'm glad to see Zane Smith have a great run in his debut. Give him a ride next year, Brad.
Or someone give him a ride. Someone, a good team.
A good team. NASCAR Mobile 48 says this has to be the best race on a somewhat short track. Better than Phoenix, Martinsville, and Dover. I thought Dover was good.
Dover was great. I thought
Dover was very good. I still might give this one a slight edge, but they were close.
I think this one's better, but Dover was good.
Yeah.
Racing Aerials. We follow each other on Twitter. It says, expected a mid-tier race, but man, what a show. The Chastain drama is a storyline that's going to follow all the way to the Final Four in Phoenix. I am so pumped. Let's go. Let's go. Speaking of let's go a little further down and see some of the ones that weren't as high voted. Daniel Schell says, next-gen car is saving the 1.5 mile race. Well, it wasn't 1.5 miles, but it was still a really good race.
Yeah, it was a good race, though.
First last is proud of Ryan Blaney and happy Logano got the win. That's
wow.
normal.
That's the first time I'm seeing, like, wow, you don't see that too often. Someone saying, I'm happy Logano won. Wow.
Our chat is very positive today.
Yeah,
Well,
they're very.
Until I found this one from DBab2, who says, once you got 10 or so laps in to a run, passing was non-existent.
Yeah, I mean,
I wouldn't say
that's somewhat
non-existent, but
fair.
It was difficult.
Yeah, it was hard.
Eric Core says, Chastain certainly made some new friends today, didn't he? Yeah, I guess so.
Wink.
That's a good way to put it.
JC1424, I saw him in the chat earlier today. What's up, man?
What's up, Jason?
Said, well, clean air advantage, no green flag pit stops again, just cautions and drama, 7 out of 10. I mean, I thought
that's fair.
7 minutes
That's
anyways.
fair. Yeah, I give it that.
Let's go down to the bottom and get the -5 that I can read.
Yes.
All right, so let's do 6 because they're short ones. ZH2 says it sucked. Daniel Lehman says meh. 28M Racing, boring.
Okay.
John Mack says I only voted bad because Logano won.
There we go. There it is.
Nathan Grace says this was not a good race. It was a soap opera. And then last one. Well, I'm gonna substitute words in, and you can just in your mind say what they
That's
are.
one of those. Uh-oh.
Zim's Aquatics and Hobbies said, I don't even watch the crap anymore. I haven't for decades. Modern butt car, we'll just say that, sucks about as much as channels you're not even subscribed to constantly flooding my feed with your stupid questions.
Hey, someone must have watched a few NASCAR videos in their search history.
He's saying how much he hates our channels because they flood his feed, and I'm like,
but I'm saying they wouldn't flood Google is a very they have a very sophisticated algorithm.
Yeah.
This man must have watched some NASCAR.
You've seen
videos.
some of our stuff, and it keeps popping up on your feed.
Yeah, just because you didn't choose to subscribe doesn't mean you haven't
should have
watched
just
it.
clicked off our videos once you realized they sucked, and they wouldn't be keep popping up in your feed. all
well,
the time.
you know what? Thousands of people heard your temper tantrum. So
Yeah.
anyway, that was
Yeah.
the poll. Thank you all for voting, and
you guys.
I'll put it up after Sonoma.
The chat saying ratio.
Real time ratio.
Really quick, so Jarrett inspired me to do my own little poll after the race because I was very intrigued. I was very interested to see what some of the fans had to say about this. My question, really quick, was: would you want to see Gateway on the 2023 playoff schedule? So
Playoff
So
schedule.
6.4 thousand people voted, and 63% said yes, while 37% said no. Let's get your guys' takes on it. Danny, start us off. Too soon or yes? Playoff track for sure.
Nah, I don't think so.
Whoever wants to go next.
I'm gonna say no, and I'm gonna give a couple reasons here. One, we need more time. One race should not set this up. Two, it's gonna have to be earlier in the year because even though it is further south in Chicagoland, still being in Illinois where it is, weather's gonna be a factor. And three, it also would have to be very early in the playoffs because if it goes head to head with, for instance, the Cardinals in the playoffs, that as much as I can't stand the Cardinals, I will acknowledge
Cardinals,
that they are huge in St. Louis.
They own St. Louis, basically.
So
that came at a time where there's nothing going on there. So
that's good city planning, I gotta say. They did a good job with that. My mom brought that up to me. It's like, they played the Cubs in Wrigley that weekend. I'm like, that's right.
Yeah.
I would say yes, only if it replaces Texas, which I don't think is realistic.
Yes,
That's every
And
track.
please.
the Texas race, to your point, Jarrett, is in late September, which I think you could run a race at Gateway in late September, and that's before Major League Baseball playoffs begin. So maybe that would make sense.
See, I'm a little biased here because, growing up a diehard Rams fan, I was a big fan of them when they were in St. Louis growing up, and they never made the playoffs. So I figured, having a NASCAR playoff race, it's a good way to at least give the city a playoff type event again, I guess, because they didn't have it too often. But no. In all seriousness, after the race we saw and after the sold out crowd, a playoff race there would really intrigue me because I feel like this track would kind of be perfect for it because, granted, yes, it is a track that is hard to pass, but, when guys really are desperate to pass, they're willing to do whatever it takes, ergo Ross Chastain, So I feel like if it were to be like a cutoff race in the playoffs, it could be interesting too. But yeah, I mean, if I were to put it in the playoffs, yeah, Texas, you're gone.
I think I just got to see how that crowd look next year.
Yeah,
I'm kind of the same way this year with Nashville, because both of these races were in. Well, Nashville doesn't have the location that Gateway does in terms of how close they are to the city, but they attracted two big metropolitan areas that haven't had NASCAR in a long time. So I'm curious, how does Nashville look this year, and how does Gateway look next year?
I love this comment from Denny Delivers. He says, I just realized that this year's Texas race is on my birthday.
Oh,
my condolences.
If I was you, Denny Delivers, I would just go do anything else for your birthday.
Yeah, go do some go-karting and stuff. It'll be a much better racing product in Texas.
Better racing on that track.
Yeah, better racing there. But anyways, moving on, let's talk about another race, the Xfinity Series race at Portland. Their first time at Portland in decades. It had been quite some time. Now I didn't watch the race live. Me and IDK Player,
I did.
We were working.
It was fun.
We were both working the Fairground social media. But from what I saw on social media, Jared, since you said something, I mean, talk about their race. I mean, there are some very interesting moments.
So it was really a Jekyll and Hyde race, whereas the first half of the race was raining fully. Ty Gibbs dominating. You kind of just knew it was going to happen. And the broadcast focused a lot on the front. They did focus on all the spinning and stuff.
A lot of spins.
And we'll talk about him in a bit. AJ Allmendinger went down a lap really quick. Like, it was not great. And then the second half hit with Jesse Iwuji hitting Ty Gibbs, and everything just went to hell.
Oh man!
And it was a beautiful disaster.
Is it time though? Like let's talk about this real quick. Is it time for NASCAR to step in and be like, "Hey, Jesse, look,
dude, it was time after Las Vegas," but they're not going to, because he's a fan favorite. He has Emmett Smith with him, and he was in the military.
Yeah, he won the fan vote. Remember this, gentlemen.
Oh yeah, he's the most.
He was
driver.
undefeated in fan votes.
That's crazy, bro.
Don't you know he is more popular than
if he could just get a ride for the All-Star Open, man, he'd be in.
But they're not going to do anything unless like it goes way past what it did. But it's like this dude's dude's 3 laps down, like 21 laps into the race. I want to say this full stop right now. I like Jesse Iwuji as a person.
Oh, same.
Nice guy.
We've had him on the show. I remember season 1. He was one of our first guests we ever had on the show. And stuff,
he is a great man, and I think he has a place in NASCAR. It's just not behind the wheel of a car or anything.
Honestly,
Maybe
Kyle Weatherman, I mean, he's been in that ride. I mean, he pushed it to a top 15 at one of the tracks this year. I would like to see him do some more races with them, but
But that's what shook things up, because then Ty Gibbs got into Noah Gragson. Who else did he run into in that race? Who else? Yeah, he ran into a bunch of drivers, made some enemies, as he's prone to do.
And then
fell back in the pack.
I saw Sheldon Creed gave Buford the bird.
Yeah,
double bird.
Good stuff. Yeah, there was a huge pile. I mean, there was a few huge pileups going into that turn 1 chicane, but I don't remember on that one that was especially bad. And I think Creed ran into like Austin Hill or somebody, who then he got piled in by Buford. I don't know what happened. I was a little surprised he was so mad at Buford, but yeah, he was.
I do got to say, though, in defense of Jade Buford, he was benched for a little while because of a lack of performance in that 48 car. And then, of course, they got some other drivers in there. Tyler Reddick won a race for that team. He actually didn't do too bad. I think he kind of used some of this time to kind of maybe improve himself a little bit.
But H. Allmendinger wins the race. Hey, Jared, you were right. Finally, in the points, you were right again. Good job.
At the media center, he saw how bad he was doing. He's like, I'm done.
Well, yeah, because he wrecked like coming to the green practically at the beginning of the race and was way back. But a lot of cautions, got back on the lead lap, got back in contention, and he is just a tremendous road. When his head's on straight, which sometimes it's not. I think sometimes he's over emotional behind the wheel, makes mistakes. But when his head's on straight and he is focused, he is unbeatable in the Xfinity Series at road courses.
And colleague racing, I had said last week on the show, I was like, hey, what's going on? I mean, like, yeah, they're running their Cup team. Might have taken some performance out of that Xfinity team, but they're back in victory lane again. So, hey, maybe they're moving in the right direction once again.
And looking at the way they finished, attaboy to JJ Yaley finishing P8.
Mm-hmm.
And and that, like, I think he stayed out on slicks too.
Wow.
So good on him. He actually in the last lap was running in the top 3.
Remember, he is a dirt guy, so I mean, if somebody were to handle slicks on a wet track, it would be him.
And listen, it was so funny that one restart when like the first 8 cars made the corner and then the entire field just completely missed it.
I saw they were racing at ARCA too. There was an ARCA clip that was similar.
A couple of other attaboys to give out. Alex LeBay getting 10th place in this one, and Myatt Snyder and Jordan Anderson's car, for what that is, getting second. That's amazing.
Yeah,
they won a stage as well. Yeah, that was cool.
Doing really
Andy
great.
Lally ran pretty well up at the front too. Like there was like the second half of this race, it was just like a lottery. Like
Scott Hecker got 13th in the 5.
Mm-hmm. Like it was very much a demolition derby. It was completely insane, but it was also memorable.
One other, my last attaboy. So Gray Galding was put into the 6th car, and he finished 36 out of 38. So the usual driver of that car was Ryan Vargas, drove Mike Harmon's 47 to a 23rd place finish.
Hey man, wait, look, I know it's a business, but JD Motorsport, bro, if you're gonna like kick if you're gonna sideline your main driver for your 6th car, at least put somebody better in, right? For that one race, right?
If you're gonna sideline him, don't get whooped by him and the other car.
Like seriously, I think in every race he has competed against that car, he's beaten them. I think.
Well, I want to ask you guys overall. What are your thoughts on the track of Portland? Like, should we
keep it.
Judge it off of this, or should we wait till we have a dry race?
Give it another chance. Give it one more.
The crowd showed, because I saw the footage of stuff even before the race, like the driver autograph sessions. I mean, they come out in droves for that. Like there was long lines for that. That area wanted something like this, and they got it.
The Pacific Northwest, like they love their racing, man. Whether it's dirt racing,
racing. They didn't care. It was just the Xfinity Series. They came out. They wanted to see it.
So I'm really curious to see how a race would do on a dry surface. I think it would put on, they would put on a spectacular show. But who knows? Maybe it could be another Cup Series road course. You never know. That's
the nature of that area. You're it's not likely you're going to get a dry surface up there.
Yeah.
So
I thought, man, I don't know. I'd like to see it come back one more time, but keep in mind, every Xfinity team lost money on this race.
The travel all the way out there. The purse was so low.
Yeah, purse was small, and it literally this is like the furthest track to get to from Charlotte. Probably by far on the schedule.
On that note, it was funny at the tweet up. Steve Carnes, he's with the First Pacific Funding Group that sponsors Jeremy Clements, and Chris Rice with Colleague Racing. He showed up and he had the trophy from the Portland race, so he showed that off and got Bob Pockers to hold it. But Steve Carnes asked Chris Rice, how much money did you guys lose in gas? And he just said, no comment.
Yeah, so that's my only thing. I think the crowd was great. I thought the race, honestly, that turn 1, I know it's hilarious and everything, but it wasn't good racing the whole second half of that race. It was a bad race. So I'd like to see it return, but I don't see this as necessarily a mainstay on the schedule. At least if it's not, unless they start bringing a Cup there one day, because if it's just Xfinity, I just don't see that being sustainable.
We'll see what happens.
But we'll see.
With that. One final race from over the weekend, the Truck Series race. The KBM trucks, they were battling out. Now, I didn't see that race as well. Now, what happened? Were they all running inside the top 3, and then
they were like 1, 2, 3 for a
while? They were 1, 2, 3, and I mean it come down to Chandler Smith and Corey Heim, and this is now twice this year that Chandler Smith has felt like he had the better truck, and then Corey Heim raced him a little wrong. It happened at Atlanta. It happened at Gateway. And both times got a chance to, because I was media at both of those events, had a chance to, interview and be there for Chandler Smith. And he said, to me, he said, I should have won. That's what he said. He said, but, he squeezed me down on the inside again. And he said he's getting kind of tired of it. So there's definitely, I don't want to say bad blood, but it's obvious that Chandler Smith doesn't appreciate the way Corey Heim races him, whatever their teammates together.
But I also saw, and you guys can explain how they got up front, but I also saw on the NASCAR app while listening to MRN that in the final laps, you had Christian Eckes and Derek Kraus battling for the lead as well. Did they get there just on strategy, or was it straight up speed?
It was for the. I mean, there was a little
I didn't-
strategy with everyone, but it was speed. I mean, they were just straight up faster at the end than everyone.
Eckes had speed. He chased him down. He did everything he had to, but that's the nature of NASCAR is as great as green white checker finishes and overtime. So, Eckes did great in the long run, but he wasn't good on that restart.
And it's not the first time he's lost a race due to a late race restart this year. So
I said that too.
Does Eckes have a win this year?
He does. I think
he has. Does he have one? It's only one because I just know he's been close to winning 2 or 3 others.
I can't remember which track it was. I'm going to find out, but I think he does have a win.
I do know it was a lot of young guys at the front late, and then I think Johnny Sauter part-time schedule was like 5th. And I'm like,
I still forget he races every now and then.
Jeez,
Yeah.
honestly, Stu Friesen got a top 5 too. I'll give him that.
Sorry, Eckes does not have a win. He was close to winning Texas. That's what it was.
He's been close to winning a few. Yeah. So I wasn't sure. I knew he had a lot of heartbreak this year, but I know we want to give this guy a shout out. He was also one of our first guests on the podcast. But Raja Karuth in a competitive truck, probably his first Big 3 series in a competitive ride. He ran, pretty well and ends up finishing 11th. I
said, hey, watch, he might run inside the top 10.
He ran in the top 5 for a lot.
So it was confusing at the end on the board, and all the other media people was all saying, "Hey, good job on the top 10," because we all thought he had a top 10. He was listed as 10th. But then after the race, he was corrected to 11th. So I don't know what happened there exactly.
But still,
it was just a
very impressive debut, though.
Did what he had to do. Stayed out of trouble for the most part. Or he had a spin, but he was able to, still get a decent finish.
I want to say this though. Like he was like, "Oh, it's just a truck. It's a truck." Dude, give him some credit. Like you wheeled that thing.
Well,
up there.
I guess in his defense too. I mean, he has certain expectations too. I mean,
that truck.
It's his first start.
He went sliding. He went sliding in a turn. He could have been wrecked, and he routed back to nearly a top 10.
Well, you know what? Hey, he's a guy. He expects to run up front in anything, I guess. So I guess for the truck series, he's like, hey, I got to run up front. So.
And I see in the chat too, and this is right. Deegan did run competitively.
Yeah,
she actually raced. She wasn't just.
Yeah.
She was up there because of strategy. I will say that, but she actually was diving below people. She was actually racing in different lines. She looked competitive.
I made a comment on this because me and Jarrett, we sat on the backstretch for the first stage, and we watched her. She was way behind, and we watched her pass probably 10 trucks, I'd say. Like she was just making good passes.
I remember she finished 7th there last year, so this is a track
that was off attrition though. This one she actually ran up there with the leaders for a good part of the race. Right. But yeah, the ending of the race just shuffled everything. I mean, that's the truck series.
Now, one final thing too, and really quick before I talk about it, obviously congrats to Raja on a very impressive debut and Corey Heim on the win, but. Another guy we've had on the show, Carson Hocevar, involved in a very scary last lap crash. The safety crews, it took him a little while to get to him and stuff. Seeing some debates on there like, oh, well, you should have left the window net up, should have put it down, blah, blah, blah. Either way, he basically, has he revealed what exactly he is hurt
so
yet?
Not the injury itself, just sort of what is going on with it.
It's believed it's something in his leg, foot, don't know what it is, but because he was you heard on the radio he was favoring his foot. He said he couldn't really move his foot, but he did announce today that he intends to start this weekend's race, and it sounds like Daniel Suarez is going to essentially hop in. Like maybe he might not even take a first lap. It might just be, I don't know. He'll probably do one lap.
You have to take a lap.
He'll take a lap, park it. Daniel Suarez will hop in the truck.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we haven't gotten a super clear update on Hocevar's condition, other than we do know he's going to at least attempt to start the race this weekend. He said it's been reported that's an ankle injury. I mean, it's just another scary reminder that NASCAR racing is dangerous. Even at a 1 1/4 mile flat oval, you can take a big lick and potentially get fairly seriously injured. And Hocevar, he's young, so glad it wasn't any more serious. He'll be able to bounce back, and he's obviously showing some serious toughness if he plans to race any laps this weekend at Sonoma. That's pretty impressive. But glad he seems to be doing okay. But hopefully it's not anything more serious. Well, glad it's not anything more serious, it sounds like.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. I mean, it sounds like, he'll be, obviously he's not 100%, but I mean, it sounds like he might be somewhat good enough to make a few laps in the truck.
I just saw someone say he'll be back at Knoxville. He might be back, but we don't know what he's going to do in that race yet.
Okay.
Well, let's get past Sonoma, then we'll see about Knoxville.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But I'm glad he's all right. And so that'll wrap up a very wild weekend of racing at Gateway and Portland. We are now at that point in the show where I read your guys' super chats. Thank you guys so much tonight for contributing to tonight's edition of the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Who has the counter?
I got you.
All right, let me know when you start it, and I will get started reading these super chats.
3, 2, 1, go.
All right, let's get started. Oh, scroll down. Okay. Megatron, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. As leader of the Decepticons, I just want to personally invite Joey Logano, Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, and Kevin Harvick among my ranks because I admire their tenacity for vengeance. Ah, yes. Good one there. I agree. Napa Racing Fan 927 with the $5 super chat. The last Cup win for Roush, not on a super speedway, was the 2014 Sonoma race when Edwards won. Their performance started to decline when Kenseth left. Yep, they facts. Those are straight facts, bro. Hot Piss with the $5 super chat. Under a tornado watch while listening at work. Wish me luck. Oh, God. Well, I hope.
I saw him say that the storm was no longer a threat.
Okay. That's good. Well, I'm glad you're okay. Dang. I couldn't imagine that. Isaac with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much, man. Considering Byron's got the Raptor paint scheme and Jurassic World Domination opens this Friday, I'm surprised they didn't do a throwback to Jeff Gordon's Jurassic Park car. What?
It's Dominion.
Oh, Dominion. Dang it. What did I say?
Domination.
Someone at Warner Brothers is like, damn it, I thought that title would work.
No, that's not. No, it works. I'm just illiterate sometimes. Well, thank you so much, Isaac. Thank you for the super chat. And then JC1424, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Gonna listen while I mow the lawn. American things. Yes, that sounds very American to me. Thank you so much for listening. And then once again, Napa Racing Fan 927 with another $2 super chat. Should NASCAR race at PIR? I say try it one more year.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
And also it's Universal, not Warner Brothers, sorry.
Oh, okay. But yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, try it one more year. For sure. Then Ryan Sellers with the $5 super chat. Can't wait for Dale's commentary if Ross is racing like this during the second half of the year. Car in the wall!
It'll be fun.
Yeah,
we got guard wall.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
That was good. That was good.
That was about the right loud
wow.
level.
It peaked the mic just the right level.
That was
nice.
Good. I would have blown out the mic, definitely. And then Andy J with it says $10, but it says GBP. That's some type of, I don't know what currency that is. But anyways, thank you so much for the $10 in whatever currency this is, wherever you're from. Really appreciate it. First live show this year, 1:30 a.m. here. Oh, God, where are you? Oh, where are you at this
Madman staying up all night to listen to a bunch of Americans.
Yeah, I really appreciate it, bro. And then Alex with the $10 super chat. I have a theory with Zane. If he keeps running well, I can see Penske giving Zane the 22 Xfinity car, and by 2024 or 2025, he is the replacement to either Joey Logano or Ryan Blaney. Ooh, I mean, a lot would have to fall into place for that.
They're not replacing Ryan Blaney.
Yeah, I don't know about Blaney.
Can I ask who has the birds in the background?
Yeah, I was about to ask. Like, is that?
It's probably me.
It's not me.
It's probably me.
Yeah, because he's got trees.
Like the Rainforest Cafe.
Yeah. Like, what the?
Okay, enjoy ASMR of birds and meditation here from Denny B.
It's all
They just come in the window.
Yes, we're bird meditating on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Well, thank you guys so much for the super chats. We will read those at the very end of the show. And now we are at that point in the show where this edition of the NASCAR Weekly Broadcast is brought to you by Lionel.
Broadcast?
This edition of the NASCAR Weekly Podcast is brought to you by Lionel Diecast, the official diecast of NASCAR. Order the new 2022 diecast of your favorite NASCAR driver now at LionelRacing.com or any authorized Lionel retailer. Let's go over your cars. Oh, Danny, I love that 8 car. Tell us about it.
Yeah, this is the U.S. Army 2008 Mark Martin car that was owned by Dale Earnhardt Incorporated. It was shared a little bit between him and Eric Almirola. A few other, I think it was just those two, maybe a few other drivers made a start in it, but those two drove this one, I know. And it's not the classic red number 8 that Jarrett loves, but it's still a pretty good. What's so funny?
We still hear the
birds,
birds,
man.
They're loud.
They're so loud. It's
Hold
like
on.
they're purposely going into
No,
the
keep
window.
talking about the car. Keep
Don't
talking
hurt
about the car.
It's like he gets a pellet gun out.
No.
These damn birds.
Look away! I'm about to sick the army on these birds.
Oh man.
Wow.
All right, who wants to go next? Everyone.
I got you. I got an old Mike Skinner truck. I figure trucks are going back to Sonoma, so might as well have a truck this week. And it's basically Dale Earnhart's scheme. Just on truck. That's basically what the truck series was for
Yeah,
like 5
that's
or
what
6
it was.
years.
I remember the five Jeff Gordon little remake they had too.
That was
Racing
pretty
and
badass.
stuff. Yeah,
That was good looking.
Terry Labonte won that at Richmond, I think. Eric?
I've got just a classic. I don't think I've shown this on the show in a long, long time. Matt Kenseth 2013 Husky Tools, the bright red, simple scheme, but boy, did it look good. I thought of this one because I also own a piece of sheet metal from this car when he raced this car at Sonoma in 2013. So there's my Sonoma tie-in for this upcoming weekend.
And yes, this is the 2000 Nesquik Chevy from PPC Racing, driven by Jeff Green. He won the championship that season by over 600 points. I always love this car too. I'll have to do a video on it too because in the years it raced, it had some spectacular years. Won one Busch Series championship and then won some races with Scott Riggs and stuff over the years. He drove for Ford when he drove for them and stuff, and then it was obviously a Chevy when Jeff Green drove for them. But overall, man, Eric Almirola or whoever in that for Throwback Weekend next year needs to do a throwback to the Nesquik car, man. Nobody's done it yet. Somebody has to do it. So,
Dude, if Eric Almirola does a throwback, it's just going to be him driving.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Good point. But yeah, so appreciate Lionel Racing Diecast sponsoring this edition of the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Don't miss Lionel Racing's NASCAR Authentics Diecast at a Walmart or any Lionel Racing retailer near you. Appreciate you guys. Now, somebody had said earlier in the show that they were under a tornado watch. Well, here on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast, we have a bit of our own little lightning watch, and it's the lightning round on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. That never gets old. I love that.
You just barely peeked the mic at the very end of that. We heard all of that.
Yes.
Hopefully it scared the birds away.
Nice.
That or the thunder.
Yeah, hopefully it scared them away. But Jarrett, what do we have on tap for tonight?
Well, we got a few things. First off, Hendrick Motorsports is going to field the number 17 Xfinity Series car for 3 races. Kyle Larson will race at Road America, Alex Bowman at the Indy Road Course, and William Byron at Watkins Glen. Corey LaJoie has said on Stacking Pennies that NASCAR is looking to possibly remove the rear diffuser at short tracks in order to improve the racing with decreased downforce. Davey Siegel had tweeted that out first from what I saw. Joe Gibbs Racing has said they have zero intention of running Ty Gibbs in Cup in 2023, according to Bob Pockrass. This one I didn't see. This just kind of went under the radar. Joe Gibbs Racing has, on June 29th, a new Fathom Events movie will be premiering about a Joe Gibbs Racing driver called Rowdy. It's a documentary style Fathom Events movie about Kyle Busch. It actually doesn't look that bad.
Nice.
Now he talked about this with Danny and I a bit on Saturday and confirmed it with Dave Moody the other day. Raja Karuth has said that he has 3 more truck races left this year: Richmond, Bristol, and Phoenix at the end of the season.
Bristol should be a good one for him, I think.
That'll be great.
Austin Wayne Self will miss the Sonoma truck race as his wife is pregnant with their child and due to give birth this weekend, according to AM Racing.
Congratulations.
Martin Truex Jr.'s travel engineer has a wedding this weekend, so he won't be there. Instead, Cole Pern will fill in at Sonoma in the 19th team as
he
the team's
returns.
engineer.
He's back.
He's going to get a good chance to look at these things and say, yeah, I'm glad I'm out of this.
Oh.
Wasn't James Small originally the lead engineer for Cole Pern on the 19 team? And
Yeah.
now they've kind of swapped roles for a week.
Yep. And then last but not least, starting in October, Road America will be repaved. So
It's a lot of asphalt. What is that, 4
Yeah.
miles?
Yeah.
a little over,
That's
yeah.
a lot.
But a repave doesn't really affect the road course too much, does it?
I think they're going to update some stuff on it, just like to kind of modernize it.
Just don't repave the trees. Don't knock down the trees. We love the Mother Nature
Well,
over at
well-
Road America.
We'll see if it matters if the Cup's not there next year. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. But anyways, and once again, that'll do it for this edition of the Lightning Round on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. And now, back to the show.
As always, we have to thank our other sponsor, Forney Industries. Forney offers a full line of welding and plasma cutting machines, metalworking accessories, and more. It's for do-it-yourselfers all the way up to professional metalworkers. Forney has everything you need for your next intense project. You can shop Forney's top-of-the-line products at forneyInd.com. That's forneyInd.com, or at an authorized Forney dealer near you. I know for a fact several race teams in the Xfinity Series use Forney products at their race shop. You can use them at your race shop as well if you have a race shop. Forney supplies the tools. They don't supply the building, so a lot of space needed for a race shop. But we appreciate Forney's support. Be sure to check them out. Yeah, that's gonna do it. What's next up, Darian?
So this next topic, Jarrett, do you want to kind of segue us into this? You've been doing some more research on this, so take it away.
Yeah. I think you got the picture of the project.
Yes,
you
and,
can probably put that on screen.
Right now, you want me to put it on there right now?
Yeah, put it on
Okay.
right now, and I
Okay,
can
for
explain
sure.
it. So this went under the radar this past weekend. I was in the media center when I saw this, and I'm surprised nobody actually really reported on it, but the Fontana redesign development, it's happening. It's actually moving forward at the moment. And so there's only a few real updates to it. It's not major at the moment, but it was put onto the California something in agriculture website, like one of their official government websites. There's a bit of a new design to the track. The corners, if you notice, are a little bit wider than they were before. They're not going to be able to use the pit road that they currently have as the backstretch. And that is because of the fact that the corners would just be too tight to race on without them going like 10 miles an hour. It would be bad racing. What it's looking like is there's going to be new warehouses and distribution facilities that are going to be built where the current backstretch and turns are at. And that's each turn. It's going to be as you see here, it's going to be all around the track. And then there'll be like a little concourse and different stuff behind the track. They're going to have grandstands that go down the backstretch and through turn one, kind of like what Martinsville used to have. And just overall, it's moving forward. Now, I know a lot of people are upset with this, but if you didn't watch Fontana races like pre-2011, like you didn't miss out on much, and that's what we get. I mean, Fontana was not universally loved like it is now. It wasn't loved like that until like 17, 18 years into its existence. And unless you want bad racing from 2040 to 2041-ish, like this is probably going to be the right move.
Yeah.
There's not really too much to say at this point, but
And honestly, too, like
not
from a business
bad.
perspective, too, I mean, like, if you're going to take down, that massive track, you're going to have a lot more land and stuff, too, and you need some ways to make money off of it. This seems like the perfect place to have, more industrial complexes and that sort of thing, too. And it looks like it's moving forward, it looks like. So
The whole area immediately surrounding Auto Club Speedway already is kind of like an industrial. There's already a lot of
Yeah.
industrial park.
I think
structures.
there's a big set of train tracks goes through there, so there's a lot of industry that carries in for that.
like the way the broadcast team always describes like the area every time we go back to Fontana, like, oh, we're in Hollywood here, Hollywood. I'm like, no, Fontana's
No,
like,
no.
yeah,
You're in the business district.
Yeah,
That's what
you're in
you're
the
in.
business
You're an
district.
hour away.
Yeah, we're an hour away from Hollywood, y'all. But yeah, no, to Eric's point, yeah, a lot of the area already seems to be like a ton of like industrial complexes already.
So I don't know what to make of it. Like, I still feel like it's years away from happening if it even does still officially go through. Like, they said it was officially happening 2 years ago and it got hung up by, inflated business costs, pandemic, whatever. We'll see. I obviously, I think fans are less excited about it now than they were a year ago after the next gen actually put on a pretty good show a few months ago. But in the long run, I do think a shorter track is probably going to be the better answer rather than a big 2-mile oval. But we'll see. We'll see. It's obviously going to depend on what the renovations actually look like, what the updates do, and how they utilize that extra space, if any of it is actually relevant to NASCAR fans and the fan experience.
That's what I hope. I hope it's not just all getting sold to other people.
Yeah.
Because I know what they talked about too was like, they could build stuff around it, like restaurants and different things that were kind of like what's built around the front stretch at Daytona. So I'm hoping they do something like that and not just basically just give it all to other people. But I think with this, I'd love to see the current Fontana stay as long as possible, and then this be what they do, because I'm a Brewer. I don't want to sit through 2 decades of what Fontana used to be.
Yeah,
because Fontana used to be so boring.
And you know what? This is myself included. I know I'm with you guys. I love the racing we saw, like we saw in February and stuff like that. But it took us years to get to that point with the next gen car and the track surface, aging well. So once it gets repaved, y'all, we're not going to see that type of racing for another 15 to 20 years.
We might see it from Michigan.
Michigan. That'll be our new that'll be like our.
If the car translates well to Michigan and the surface will actually age soon.
Yeah.
Because it's been 10 years since Michigan's been repaved and it races just like it did in 2012. So I'm hoping this car changes it up. I mean, that's just my thing. It's like we could wait for it, but it was single file racing for the most part until around the late 2000s, early 2010s. And the fans didn't show up to it before, so you might as well do something they'll show up to now. I mean, yeah, I know they showed up this year, but if you look at the crowds like the year, like for about a half a decade or so before the pandemic, it was not inspiring.
Yeah, it kept dwindling down. And I mean, fans, you guys want more short tracks and stuff too. I mean,
I get, like, I see what Barry Boy Blast says. I get that. Like, I feel for it, because if you told me that Chicagoland was getting turned into a short track, like, it would hurt too. But I think with NASCAR, like where they're at with this is probably the best move they can have. And it would probably down the line be able to get them out there for maybe the finale or a playoff race with that track. They'll probably have less seats. It'll look better. Just it will probably long term have better effects than we can see right now. I just think in the short term, fans are probably going to be against it for a bit. But I mean, hey, like you said, Darian, more short tracks.
Yeah, but also, I mean, like now the current problem we have from the next gens is like now the short track racing product doesn't look as good now. So I mean, but
turn it to a road course.
I feel like NASCAR, they'll eventually get that figured out. I mean, if they could figure out making intermediate racing great again, then they'll be able to figure out short track racing. I think a lot easier in this case, but we'll see what happens with that for sure. But yeah, so moving on now to some other interesting news to talk about. Another potential superstar veteran retirement happening soon. The next driver up on the chopping block could be Martin Truex Jr. He could retire. It seems to be he seems to be on the fence about coming back or not. Said he should know in the coming weeks, specifically the next 2 weeks. And this Truex quote, he was quoted in saying, "I'm not done yet. We'll see what we'll see what next year brings." Also stresses that no decision has been made, and this is according to Moody. So, Danny, I'll start off with you. MTJ's been in the sport for quite some time. His rookie year was 2006. Hell, I remember watching him the first ever year I started watching NASCAR in first grade, 2004 Busch Series Championship. He's like my second favorite driver, junior, growing up in those days. But Danny, we'll start off with you. Does he stay for a little bit longer, or do we see Martin Truex Jr. Officially retire after 2022?
At this point, he's been through so much. He's honestly overachieved way more than I think anyone ever thought that he would throughout, good majority of his career. People kind of thought that maybe he'd just be on the same level as like Clint Boyer, Jamie McMurray, get a few wins. But, from 2016 onward, he shot up like a rocket. Obviously, very well-deservingly won a 2017 championship. About the only thing he could do in his career that he hasn't done is win a Daytona 500. He's done it all, and for everything he's done, Miss Sherry's been by his side, and he's been through a lot with her. Maybe it would be the right time to just kind of settle down, just spend more time with her, and I know he likes to go fishing and all that kind of stuff. So maybe just enjoy some fishing.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I think he does. For a couple of reasons. We had seen a lot of the older drivers, and especially when Denny Hamlin was on Dale Jr. download, they both talked about how Truex in particular was one driver who just wasn't crazy about this car, wasn't really liking it that much, was taking longer to get used to it, which older driver, we should assume that's the case. But with him, I mean, he's not said anything whatsoever that's pointed towards him coming back, or if he does, for it being long-term. And then Danny did mention his girlfriend, Sherry, her cancer is back, and she announced in April she's not even going to, have chemo treatment on this one. So I think everything's kind of lining up, personal, professionally, everything like that I don't think he comes back. And I would say probably John Hunter Nemechek would be my pick as the person I think who would probably be taking over that 19, even if he's just a stopgap for Ty Gibbs. But that's kind of where I sit on it.
If he does go, I would like for him to announce he's going to go and not be like a Carl Edwards situation where just boom, he's gone.
Well, I think he's gonna in like the next 2 weeks or so. I know I'd overheard that, and he had said something similar to that. So I think he's one of those guys that I think deserves to have a big built-up send-off, like a Jimmy, like a Jeff Gordon, like a Dale Jr. He deserves a built-up send-off, I think.
He's not the kind of driver I feel like who would want that, but I agree he deserves at least some sort of thing towards the end of the year to honor him and his career. I was hoping to have a different opinion than you guys on this one, but I agree. If I were a bet man right now, we'll find out hopefully in a couple of weeks, but I think he ends up retiring for many of the reasons you all just said. He cited this weekend that it's primarily personal as opposed to money reasons. It's not that he's not getting a good contract or he doesn't have sponsorship or something. It's there are other life factors beyond racing that are calling him, that are things that he's weighing way more heavily in this case. And I think a lot of that has to be Sherry Pollux and his relationship with her, of course. So I think that's number one reason. And then you listen to what he said in the last couple of weeks. If he's talking this openly about how unsure he is if he's going to come back, it sounds like he already has 1 foot out. And he even said on that Dave Moody radio appearance that he doesn't like to half-ass anything. He goes 100%. And it sounds like right now in 2022, he is not 100% focused on racing. So I think there's a really good chance this is his final stab at it. This is his final run at that second championship, and he'll be in contention all year. I think once he makes the announcement, presumably in the next couple of weeks, that will sort of clear some headspace, hopefully. And I think he'll be able to focus in on a deep playoff run this year and might actually nab that first win. If he doesn't nab it this weekend at Sonoma, I think, he'll be able to focus in and lock in a little bit better for the remainder of his final season.
Yes. Spencer Smith in the chat just mentioned this. I mean, he had just approached 600 career Cup starts. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah, he's been in the Cup Series for that long. I mean, at this point, yeah, nothing left to prove. Champion, multiple time winner and stuff. And
for those who don't know, NASCAR is not all that. NASCAR is not the only thing that Martin Truex has. I mean, he comes from a family of commercial fishermen. If he really wanted something to do for the rest of his career after, making sure that Sherry's okay, I mean, he could very easily go back into the family business.
Yeah, he could do that stuff. So, future Hall of Famer, of course.
Sure.
I would say maybe it'll be like he'll feel a lot better if he gets the news out sooner rather than later, because then he can just focus on the rest of the season.
Well, I think it's not even just getting the news out there. I think he has to come to that decision. I think right now, if you ask Martin Truex Jr. right now, hey, are you coming back next year? I think he would tell you, I don't know. Okay. Yeah. So he needs to have that sort of epiphany. He needs to have that moment, and making it public will be one thing, but I think he just needs to come to terms with it himself. And that's what will give him that peace and allow him to focus on potentially his last season.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how that story unfolds. But like it says in the itinerary, 2 more weeks, and we should be hear something regarding MTJ's future. But no matter what happens, without a doubt, a future Hall of Famer. But okay, let's move on to this weekend's race, the upcoming preview, the Sonoma preview. Once again, they will be using the 2-mile layout again. It's called the Kink, right? Or no, not the Kink. I'm sorry.
The Shoot.
The Shoot.
No,
The Shoot.
No, you're thinking of Road America.
Yeah, I was thinking of Road America.
Thinking of Slap.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking of Slap for a moment. Yeah, shout out to Slap Shoes. But yeah, the Shoot makes its return.
When is the last race they ran with this configuration?
2019, right?
18 or 19.
I think
Because they didn't race here in 2020.
I think it was 2019.
Yeah, they've had 2 races on this configuration, I think.
So,
Since 2018, I think.
yeah, the carousel was that bad, huh?
Yeah,
I was always a fan of the Shoot layout.
Yeah.
I think I've said every time we talked about Sonoma.
That's what you think of when you think of Sonoma. You think of that layout.
I think of that shot where you have a 90-degree angle wall of tires and people barely missing it.
Okay, everyone in the
That's-
chat's saying 2018, so it's 2018. But yeah, no, it's great to have the Shoot make its return, and it'll be great to see that camera angle again. I always grew up loving that camera angle ever since watching it. But yeah, so this weekend, the Truck Series makes its return for the first time since, I want to say, like either the 90s or the early 2000s. Basically, it's been a while since the Truck Series has raced at Sonoma. The Truck Series race for this weekend will be called the DoorDash 250, 75 laps total. Begins at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time on FS1, and you can listen to it on PRN Radio. The weather will be, the race takes place on a Saturday. The weather is looking to be very hot and breezy, 96 degrees with only a 5% chance of rain, and defending winner, there is none. It's the first time they're back that the Truck Series is racing at that track in years. And then as for the Cup Series race, the Toyota Save Mart 350, 110 laps in total, begins at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on FS1 and PRN. And some of you fans can rejoice as far as the TV side of things, because this will be the last Fox Sports race of the year. So some of y'all can celebrate.
Now we can complain about NBC.
Yeah,
for
we
20
can complain about NBC and the race.
Only on Crash!
And the race is on USA Network, so we'll see how that goes, how that transition goes. But the last race for Fox Sports on Sunday takes place on Sunday. I just said it. The race is on Sunday. Let's just put it that way. And it'll be a lot cooler with only a 25% chance of rain and 77 degrees. The defending race winner from last year is Kyle Larson, and Tony Stewart will make his return to the booth. So really quick before we get into the picks, let's go over the betting odds on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. The favorites entering this weekend: Chase Elliott enters this weekend at plus 550 to win. Kyle Larson in second at plus 650. Martin Truex Jr. plus 900. Kyle Busch plus 1,000, and Ross Chastain plus 1,200. As for the best of the rest, Denny Hamlin also plus 1,200. AJ Allmendinger also plus 1,200, and Ryan Blaney plus 1,400. And as for the famous underdogs, Daniel Suarez plus 2,500, William Byron plus 3,000, Eric Jones plus 3,000, Kevin Harvick plus 5,000, and my personal favorite, Michael McDowell is plus 10,000. I mean, he has a pretty good resume on road courses. So I'm just saying, if you want a pretty decent long shot, I think take the risk. Take the risk. Why not? And going over the top 5 for the NASCAR Weekly Podcast Fantasy League. Right now, Toyota Tough has just a 5-point lead over Trevor Sports 98. Oh, and also a 5-point lead over 48 Nation. So the top 3 are separated by just 5 points. So it is getting really close in the fantasy picks this year, or in the fantasy league this year. And then in 4th is UGR2, and rounding out the top 5 is RGP Racing 2. Yes.
Nice.
And the pick points. Yeah, so the pick points. Eric Estep, you are having a spectacular season. You and the chat.
Yeah, the chat's catching up, unfortunately. I don't know if this isn't.
So right now,
very cool.
as it stands right now, you have 269 nice points in total. And the chat is just 5 points back. So chat, you're flirting with them there. You're very close. But then in the meantime, I'm in the middle of no man's land right now. I mean, yes, I'm sitting P3, but I'm minus 32. And then in 4th and 5th, it's a close run for the basement. Jarrett is -60, followed by Danny B -61. So I mean, I'm
back in the basement. Back in the basement.
Just barely though, Danny. Just barely. Hey, if Jarrett has a bad weekend, then hey, boom.
Which is likely.
Yeah, based on the trends this year, then you'll be able to trade spots in no time. But yeah, so hey, choose wisely this weekend. There's only 2 races, so hey, at the end of the day, every point counts. So let's get started with the picks for the Truck Series. I have a feeling I already know everybody's pick for this one. So Eric, you're the points leader. You go first. Who is going to win the Truck Series race at Sonoma?
So it's important to mention, just for context, and I hope I don't spoil anyone's pick in this, but there are a few Cup Series drivers racing. Obviously, Kyle Busch is in the 51. Chastain is in the 41. I'm just scrolling to remind myself. Harrison Burton is in the 17. Austin Dillon, I believe, yes, is in the 20. And Alex Bowman is in the 7. So
I actually didn't even know that. I didn't see any announcement about that.
Oh, Danny changing his picks real time. Man, this is a tough one because Kyle Busch has not had the best luck running trucks this year, but I think a road course, and I feel like I've said this about a lot of tracks this year, but a road course, this is one where driver skill matters a lot. And Kyle Busch has made laps on this Sonoma layout for years. I think Kyle Busch wins it. I'm going to go with the safe pick.
Yeah, I was about to go with the safe pick as well. Kyle Busch for me, KFB.
Same.
I don't get to be biased at a Truck Series race that much. I'll go up to 7.
We knew it. We knew it.
Wait, the 7's Alex Bowman, correct?
Yep. Hey, I'll take a swing. If I'm the only one, I'll take a swing.
Hey, might as well. But
Yeah,
it
the
looks
chat
like,
has.
yeah, it looks like Kyle Busch.
Hey, last Truck Series road course race with these two, it got very interesting between those two. So we'll
true.
see.
Yeah, so I mean, hey, none of these picks are a shoe-in, but hey, we'll see what happens. But yeah, the chat, give him KFB as well. So everybody except Danny B going with Kyle Busch.
Can you blame me?
So now, who's gonna suck in the NASCAR Cup Series race at Sonoma? Eric, who's gonna suck?
I'll go with an old favorite. I'll pick Eric Almirola.
So I am going to go with, I was also going to pick him, Eric Almirola as well. Yes, he's coming off a 3rd place finish, but to Jared's earlier point, where's the consistency? There just isn't any consistency. I need to see a little bit more. If he comes out of here with a decent run, I'll be very surprised. But based on the trends this season, it's looking to be a bad one. Eric Almirola.
So we're going back to this old layout, and this driver has not been great at this layout. I think the most famous thing that really happened to him on this layout is the fact that his hood completely came up in 2010 over his windshield. So I'm going to go one number above you guys and pick Denny Hamlin as my Cup suck pick.
It looks like I'm going to agree into a lot of the chat. I'm saying Kevin Harvick for suck pick this week.
Hey, chat.
Whoa. Oh, it's the same guy. It's the same.
It's mainly one guy.
Yeah.
No, it's more than one guy.
Is it?
It's a couple of guys.
Okay, it is mainly one guy, but I've seen a lot more than him.
There's a few new ones coming in here. Yeah.
Man, Derek does not like.
He
Kevin
does not
Harvick.
like Kevin Harvick at all. Yeah.
No.
We got one that says creative name.
I think. Oh my God! I know there's others that are doing Kevin Harvick, but it's a lot of Cole Custer.
Yeah, of course. Wait, who's next for the suck picks again? Who's next?
The chat.
Oh, okay, the chat is there.
And there is a lot more Harvick.
Yeah,
now. Let's just give him Harvick.
It's Harvick. Yeah, I might as well give him. All right.
This is the first time they pick Harvick to suck all year.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, first time for everything. Okay.
And he's won here before, I think.
Mm-hmm. He has. Yep. 2017.
This isn't his home track, but he is a California driver, so.
Yeah, Bakersfield, California. Yeah.
I just think it's more
Is
like.
this a home track for him? Maybe where's Bakersfield at? I don't even know.
Is it close to? I don't know if it's close to Sonoma.
I just think the pick for him to suck is more based on where the team is at this year, not really him.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, so dark horse picks. Eric, who is your underdog for this weekend?
Daniel Suarez. His Sonoma numbers are iffy. I looked him up earlier. I think he's never finished worse than 15th or 16th, but I don't think he's ever gotten a top 10 either at this track. So fine, they're not bad. But he's been good at some road courses like Watkins Glen. He's had a couple top fives in his career. He led the first 15 laps at COTA, sat on the pole, led the first 15 laps at COTA, and won that stage. I think Suarez will be a threat this weekend, so I'll put him as my underdog.
I'm gonna go with Oh, I just lost my train of thought. I just lost it for a moment. I'm thinking of like 2 or 3 different guys right now. I'm going to go with the 43 of Eric Jones. He's flirting with the playoffs right now. He's right there on the cut line. Feel like he'll have a surprise run in a good way. So Eric Jones and that 43 team.
Well, I'm going to agree with Eric as well with Daniel Suarez, and I'm doing this simply because of Coda. So
I think for what it is for this car, I don't know. I think Joey Hand driving the 15 might be a decent underdog. This is kind of his hometown track. He's from Sacramento, California.
Oh,
I like the shout out. That's good.
yeah, Sacramento. The Kings suck, but he doesn't, apparently. He must be really good. So, yeah. So it looks like I'm seeing a lot of, I saw a few Austin Cindrics.
there's a lot of Cindrics, actually, because there's people that are putting Cindric, but it might just be the same people. I just keep seeing pink profiles, and I'm like, there's spam ones.
I'm seeing a few different people putting too. I'm seeing Michael McDowell's.
Jam plays games has picked 3 different people, and I can see them all on my screen at the same time.
He's just keeping it fun for us. But
Or maybe 2 different. I don't know. He picked multiple people. Yeah, I don't.
I'm just gonna give him Cindric. I'm seeing a lot more too.
Sounds good.
It's not
means they can't pick him as their win
Yeah,
pick.
you can't
though.
pick him for the win, but yeah. So we'll see who they pick. But speaking of winners, who's gonna win? Who's gonna win at Sonoma this weekend? Eric? You're
Hope
the
we don't
points
all.
leader. Yeah.
I hope we don't all pick
No
the same
pressure.
person. I'm going to put some pressure on you guys. He's winless this year, but he's won thrice at Sonoma. He's got an old familiar voice, not on the pit box necessarily. Maybe they have a seat for the engineer on the pit box. I guess they do. He may not be on the radio, but Martin Truex Jr. reunited with Cole Pearn amidst all the uncertainty about his future. He gets his 4th career win at Sonoma.
I was just about to say that as well. Martin Truex Jr., I'm going to pick him as well. Look, I know it's the next gen. We've seen different guys, step up to the plate at different tracks. But, hey, look, Martin Truex Jr. and Sonoma, based on history, man, I feel like, look, no matter what car we're in, I feel like he gets the job done there, wherever, for whatever team or whatever car he's driving in. So, Martin Truex Jr., I'm with you, Eric.
Man, we are going all Toyota this weekend, but I'm not going to pick. I can't pick the 11. I'm not going to pick the truck winner because he's my suck pick.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, rules are rules.
I'm not picking the truck winner.
Oh, man.
I'm not picking the same as y'all.
Oh, thank goodness.
I'm picking Christopher Bell.
Oh,
I like it.
I think Bell gets it this weekend.
That's a good pick.
Swinging for the fences, yeah. Nice.
This is the road course he has the most starts on yet without a win. Chase Elliott. I'll take him.
Ooh, that's a good pick
That's
as
a good
well.
one.
I like it. I like
That's
it.
a good
Yeah.
one. Yeah, he's not as dominant on Sonoma as people think.
He has had a lot of 3rd and 2nd place runs there, but he hasn't got the win figured out there. I think going back to this configuration might suit well for him.
Yeah. I'm seeing some dingers in the chat.
Chat's everywhere right now.
Yeah, I'll have a poll ready.
It's probably
There were some Bells in there. There were some Truexes.
Yeah.
So
there's
what
still
do we
some
got?
Cindrics, even though they can't pick Cindrics.
So what are we looking at? The 20, the 19,
and the 16, I
Okay.
think. I see a lot of Allmendingers. I think he's gonna win, but yeah, I should probably put a poll.
Family fun.
All right, I'll make sure to put. I'm gonna put a poll.
Yeah, we can
down.
let that fly through the
So-
last super chats.
What were the options?
The 16, 19, and 20,
Okay, 16, 19, and 20.
and the 9.
Oh.
I put the 9 in there.
Okay. Hold on. Let me do that again.
Yeah, originally I was wanting to go with Truex too, but I was like, well, I didn't want it to be the same truck pick, and I didn't want to be the same cup pick, so.
All right. So the poll is about to be up in 3, 2, 1. There you guys go. So while you guys vote on that poll, I will get through the rest of these super chats. And once again, thank you guys so much for contributing to this edition of the NASCAR Weekly Podcast tonight. Let me see if I can find the place that I left off at. Yes, here it is.
And it's going in the direction of AJ so far.
Oh, it is. Oh, wow. Interesting. Yep, we'll see what it's like after I read
Portland
these
win
super
convinced
chats.
him.
Yeah, it only takes one. Isaac with the 2-hour super chat. Thanks, man. It's official. Martinsville 2020 broke Harvick. Yeah, in a way. And yeah, you could also make the case it kind of broke Stuart Haas Racing as well. Jake with the 2-hour super chat. Thanks, man. Thoughts on Kevin Conway? He's the extent guy. NASCAR bust Kevin Conway coming soon.
Oh my gosh.
That's gonna be a long one.
I just realized that. No pun intended on the bus part.
Yeah, that'll be a really long one. Darian thinks it'll be hard to make.
JK Ryder 175. Thanks so much for the $10 super chat. Smoking Joe and the Candyman battling was an epic finish. 22.
Smoking Joe. Joey Logano.
Smoking Joe. 22 and 22. Chase Elliott still sucks. HMS fan base is toxic.
Damn.
Wow, this dude's going after everyone.
Yeah, he is. Hey, he sent the $10 super chat, so he just wanted to get it. He wanted to get his feelings out, I guess. So
Just come out swinging, why don't you?
JS Ski, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. If all three were looking for teams, would you rather give JJ Yeley, Reed Sorensen, or Brian Scott a second chance at a top ride? Reed Sorensen, I'd give the second chance, easy.
Like, do we get them right now, or can we go back to when they're in their prime?
right now. Reed Sorensen.
How old's Reed Sorensen? Like 35-ish?
He's up there. He was a rookie in 2006. Let's put it
He
out.
was 20 in 2006.
Who already
So
out?
he's like 35-ish probably.
Reed,
36.
JJ, and Brian Scott.
I think it's Reed or JJ. I'd probably go Reed as well. I miss the days he was in the Target car.
I'm the weird one who actually say Brian Scott, but
Oh goodness.
he finished second at Talladega. Never forget.
We got
I'll go
enough
JJ
cautions
Yeley.
these days.
I go with JJ Yeley because in 2007, people forget he actually was like in the midst of the chase hunt for the first half of the regular season.
he just was not ready for that car yet.
No, he got rushed up, and that ruined his career.
Yeah.
Hot Piss with the $2 super chat. Once more, Portland race. He messed that up. One more Portland race, then back to Mid-Ohio, please. Yeah. I low-key miss Mid-Ohio a little bit, too. Melon Smasher 1, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. It's been a few weeks, and I need to bring it back. This one's for you, Eric. Ratatouille is overrated. Also, great overrated finish. And congrats to Joey Logano on having more wins than Elliott and Larson this year.
I don't think the finish was overrated.
They had like 2 or 3 passes for the lead in the final overtime. They were throwing sliders at each other.
It says great overrated finish. So
No, that's an oxymoron.
I was kind of like, I was like, what is that?
It's like he enjoyed it but hated it. He enjoyed it.
Yeah.
He thinks that Ratatouille's overrated, so I don't know. I know he said a super chat. His opinion is irrelevant.
So this name has a $sign in it, but it says Shardy PGM. Thank you so much for the $22 super chat. I see what you did there. We have a Logano fan. My twin plus I have been happy. Hashtag year of the Jolo. Oh,
we got Smoking Joey Logano and we got Jolo. I like it.
Jolo. Yeah, I didn't know Joey Logano had all these nicknames. Did y'all know?
I never heard anyone call him Smoking Joe.
He doesn't.
I think that's so funny to me.
I've seen someone who made these like photos where they just make everyone look weird, and they changed up like the commentary names when I was in the booth, and they just made him say Joe Log. That was his name, Joe Log.
Joe Log.
Slay Supersonic, thank you so much for the $20/2 super chat. Justin Mark's comments about both the Hamlin and Elliott incident surprised me. It seems as if Trackhouse recent success is getting to his head. Whoa, he needs to be humbled. Oh no, he is acting like he's won a championship already. Well, I mean, what else is he supposed to say? They're running up front. He's gonna be confident.
No, he's supposed to go. He's supposed to go on MRN and go. My driver sucks.
I think my problem is he keeps talking. Like he went on the radio yesterday and was like, "Hey, if Hamlin wants to go back and forth, we'll have fun." I don't think that's productive. I think he's asking for trouble.
It's entertaining for us.
I mean, hey, if he keeps poking the bear, maybe he'll be like, "Hey, I got Project 91. I'm gonna hop in."
This super chat to me kind of sounded like some of the younger people from NBA Twitter, because whenever like a player celebrates or whatever, they're like, "Oh, Michael Jordan or LeBron would never," you know what I mean? Like, he needs to be humbled. Yeah, that's the saying too. Like, yeah, he needs.
I don't know if I'd go that far, but yeah. I don't think his comments are helping. And actually, I know you're reading the super chat, Darren, but he actually just sent another one from Sly Supersonic on the same note.
What does it say?
I can't help but feel like Justin Marks will be humbled in the playoffs. He seemed way too cocky after Gateway. Arrogance destroys the footholds of victory.
Hey, he might be. Hey, you might have a point. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, he might be a little too overcocked.
I think he's taken on a bold strategy, continually poking Denny Hamlin, like saying, "Oh, you're not going to do anything. You're not going to do anything." Wait until he does.
Yeah,
what if he does?
Yeah,
I mean, I mean, hey, Justin Marks has 2 cars. What's not to say that if the one gets messed with the 99, won't be told to do something back?
Yeah.
Is that really something a team owner wants to get into? Though I heard these cars were expensive. I heard there's a part shortage. That sounds rough.
Not enough for egos.
Right.
By the way, it looks like AJ Allmendinger is the chat's pick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So I'll just end it for that. But yeah, AJ Allmendinger is the chat pick. So yeah. We'll see what happens. Trevor Bailey, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. I'm going to make a Darian Just Jinx's shirt. Oh, yes. And send one to me as well whenever. Yeah, I would love to wear that. Chips Never 957 with the $5 super chat. Overtime, but shout out to Will Power for getting redemption for last year's heartbreak. IndyCar can put on some great strategy races. Also, RIP to Bell's Isle. I think Belle Isle. Okay. Belle Isle.
Where IndyCar raced.
Yeah.
Detroit.
It's basically but it was like the last race on that Detroit configuration, basically.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What is the saying? Detroit can't have.
Detroit sucks. And everything.
JC1424, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Let me just say, I got an effing problem with Lionel. I can't say that. I can't say that, buddy. I can't say that. Sorry. I spoke a little too soon there. Sorry, I didn't know what he was saying there for a moment, but yeah. We'll just leave it at that. Thank you for the $5.
Next super chat.
Yeah, appreciate it, bro. Jared Sanders, thank you so much for the $2 super chat.
My name.
Does the B in Danny B stand for bird? Does it, Dan?
It did earlier, apparently.
Bird.
Bird.
I heard they're eerily silent now. Did Shugs get him?
Yeah, I guess so.
I stick the cat out there. Actually, I realized what it was is that Shugs likes to come into my office and look out the window, so I keep it like open for him so he can look out there properly. And then I just realized the window was still open, so that's why we were hearing all the birds.
Oh, that's funny. Jake Alcorn with the $10 super chat. Appreciate y'all's contributions to making great content for us race fans. Well, thank you. Starting to warm up to the idea of only going to tracks once a year other than a couple. Thoughts? By the way, Iceberg wins best diecast of the night. Hey, go to as many races as you want to and stuff too. Me personally, I found, hey, look, I want to go to multiple races over the course of a year, but like I want to find that I want to find that good balance, if that makes sense.
It's more like my wife and I were talking about this today. It's more like how many markets can we get it in front of? I think that's what it really comes down to. And I think if I have to choose to go to Darlington or Atlanta, I'm more likely to only go once a year, not really twice a year. So it's more like if I'm only going to go once a year, maybe that's all it needs.
Mm-hmm. Especially with gas prices now, there's a lot of races I had to personally cut out this year too.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Nova Stone 12, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. I'm almost done with super chats, by the way. Keep Auto Club the same, excuse me, I read that wrong. Keep Auto Club same, only track similar is Michigan. Well, it looks like it might be going in a different direction, but at least you'll have Michigan, so at least you'll have that type of track. Scott McNew with the $10 super chat. Great to see you guys. Hope all is well. My opinion, I would be bummed, but at the same time, I would understand. Truex is going to retire after this season. Yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with that situation. Andy J, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Says nothing, just $5. Really appreciate it. Napa Racing Fan 927 with another $2 super chat. I want Chicagoland. Don't replace Road America. No. And then Slay Supersonic with we already read yours earlier, talking about how Justin Marks needed to be humbled and stuff. Yeah, so appreciate that.
Hey, side note, just because I noticed this movement asked, are any of y'all going to Road America this year?
Yes.
I will be, and I think most of us will be, right?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah.
I will not this year.
Oh,
okay.
Damn.
So 3/4 of us will be at Road America.
Yes. And then Napa Racing Fan 927 with another $2 super chat. What can Fox do to improve next year? Remove Boyer?
Yes.
I was about to cut him a little slack. I mean, I thought Boyer improved a little bit. But...
We didn't say anything about this, but me and Jarrett, we went into the media center where we could actually listen to the broadcast during stage 2. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I liked Kenny Wallace more. I liked Clint Boyer.
I want to admit I was wrong last week when you guys said that Kenny Wallace was going to be in the booth. I about had an aneurysm over here.
Well, and Michael Waltrip in the booth.
Yeah, really, it was the two of them at the same time. But I'll admit they were pretty good, and I think they were helped by the goofy stuff going on track while they were in the booth.
Yeah.
That was really when the Chastain Hamlin thing took hold, and I think it played to their strengths. But yeah, no, Kenny Wallace was way better than I thought he'd be. So yeah, I do admit I was wrong.
I think Kenny Wallace actually handled the racing seriously.
He had some like insightful things to say about how he's raced because he's raced at Gateway a ton over the years, about how he's attacked the track. He gave St. Louis, the city, a lot of love because that's where he's from.
That's where he's from.
Yeah. So I just thought in general he was for one stage that was perfect.
This sounds weird, but I think if I could actually just set a Fox lineup, it would actually be Mike Joy, Jamie McMurray, and Kenny Wallace. That's how I felt.
Yeah, that seems like a perfect lineup. Yeah. Hey, I would love to see Kenny Wallace more in the booth. Hey,
I want Mike in the Max.
I just know we said good things about Boyer his first couple times in the booth.
Look what happened. Yeah.
Give me Mike in the Max.
We'll see what happens. And the last super chat of the night is from Miss Craft. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. To end off tonight's edition of the podcast, it says, "Lads, this is very important. ... Do you prefer cubed or crushed ice?" Ooh, we're asking the important questions here. Cubed. I prefer cubed ice personally.
If I'm going to my fridge at my house, cubed ice. But if I'm at a restaurant, I want it to be that very fine crushed up ice.
I do like crushed ice. I kind of agree with Danny on that though.
Melted.
Do
you just not like ice at all? What does that mean?
No, I like cubes, but I'll go cube all the way. I'll be real. I like getting ice cubes and just crushing them and like when I bite them.
Oh, they're fun.
Okay. You know what I love more than anything is when you're on an airplane and they bring you that like little tiny plastic cup and they give you like a little Diet Coke or something in there. I don't care about the drink. I just love crunching on the ice when you're up at 35,000 feet. It feels so good.
Enjoy the like 8 ounces of Coca-Cola and then you just have ice the rest of the trip.
And you have to drink,
sound of the crush.
You have to drink the Coca-Cola like really fast, otherwise the ice just like waters down.
Who's the one who says Ratatouille is overrated? I
never said it was bad.
You said it was overrated. I heard that reference.
Yeah, I stand by it.
Me and Claudia watched a movie on Disney Plus. I was this close to turning on Ratatouille, but I chose Incredibles 2 instead last night.
That's a mistake.
That's fair. Incredibles 2 not as good as the first one, but that's okay. It's okay in my mind.
I spoke too
Ratatouille's soon. Better.
I spoke too soon.
Yes.
One final super chat. Blue Jimmy 48 fan. Thank you so much for the $2 super chat. All this bird talk got me like. And it's just like a couple eyes. And
he's got the Angry Birds profile picture, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I clicked there. Okay.
I'll be like King Shark in the chat. Bird.
But anyways, that'll do it for Super Chats. Thank you so much, man. And really, that'll do it for this edition of the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Tune in next week, once again, on Wednesday night, June 15th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Next week, we are over on the one and only Eric Estep's channel, and we'll go over all of the events from the Sonoma weekend and more.
You got one last super chat.
Right, one last super chat. Melon Smasher 1. Thank you so much again for the $5 super chat. I meant overtime finish, but because Eric doesn't accept that Ratatouille is overrated, it auto-corrected. Oh, okay.
So they meant it was a great finish.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay,
this is what happens.
I'm sorry you had to pay another $5 to clarify that, though. That's not my intentions, I promise. But it happens.
We would have figured it out, but we appreciate the support.
Can you edit a super chat? I don't know.
I don't. No.
You can't.
I don't bet that.
Pay extra to unlock editing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it past YouTube.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past them. But anyways, tune in next week, June 15th.
We may have a guest. Yes. We're working on it. We're working on getting Bailey Curry, Xfinity Series driver, on for that episode. But we're gonna figure that out for sure. So
we'll see.
Planning that. By saying it out loud, it might pressure him into actually replying to my text.
Yeah.
Get him in the ghost makeup.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
That again.
Kind of a little easier when it's an off week and no one's got anything to do.
Oh yeah. Be off
That's
week
true.
to talk about. But yeah. So Yeah, fun show
SRX?
tonight. Oh yeah, SRX returns. Yes, SRX.
Yeah, we got that to talk about.
So yeah, we will still have truck picks for Knoxville next week, and for the fun of it, we'll do SRX picks.
Oh yeah, those will be worth some points. That'll be cool.
If you win.
Yeah. If you win, of course.
A bonus point if you get the winner. So
Nice. But yeah. So we don't have anything else. This was a hell of a good show. Eric, get the Dale call ready, please. And do the same thing you did last week because it didn't cut out the mic or whatever.
I just didn't blow into it. I just pressed the
Yeah.
I didn't blow the mic.
There you go. All right. Should we just do that? Or?
Yeah. Bye-bye.
it's so easy.
Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this edition of the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. This is Black Flags Matter. Catch you next time. Goodbye.
I apologize to all of our listeners.
Green.
Holy moly.
Great job! Yeah! This guy.
Thank you. Wow.
Hell yeah. Woo-hoo! Great job, man!
And we got a crash. Car spinning left and right.
Buddy, let her rip. Rain like hell, baby! Come on! Oh my god, guys! Yes! Yes! Unbelievable! You guys are the best!